reminding you that your Harris Walsh yard sign is technically a Halloween decoration. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. The children are meant to get it on. They're going to tell a friend. Love that about you. Yeah, I run into people. I was just in Wyoming. I go everywhere. It's like, I listen to the show. I love the show. I told my son about it. Good, thanks. That's how we do it. Word of mouth. Ben Gleib back in studio. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, Adam.
Jason Mayhem Miller's there.
Please, just Mayhem.
Ben's wearing a high.
I am.
Which is awesome.
Yep.
Love me some Jews.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You want to know the thought I had?
Please.
There's a big a fan I am of Jews.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm a big fan of Jews.
Thank you.
Because
we appreciate it.
I saw my family of Goyim, one-step Jew grandpa, the only decent person in the family. I figured it out early.
Yeah.
Really early. Like, this
Yeah.
guy makes sandwiches and tells bedtime stories and seems to be nice. Everyone else is a piece of shit.
Yeah, decent people. I just visited Graceland for the first time 2 days ago.
A lot of Jews. Oh, no Jews.
No Jews. But Elvis is part Jewish. I never knew this.
Didn't know that.
He wore a high for like the end of his career.
Oh, that I kind of remember.
And his mom's family was Jewish. There's a Jewish star on her gravesite, so.
Well, let me tell you the very positive Jewish thought I had when I was leaving my home this morning.
Please.
I was thinking, you know, there's always this thing. It's like, what's with the Jews? You know, always, and it's always, you know, whoever, Hamas and all the Middle East and whatever, they just want to kill Jews.
Yeah.
I don't know why we can't wrap our mind around evil. We just think like, oh, they must have, if only they offered them a peace offering or something. They don't want to. Yes, they do. They hate Jews. They want to kill Jews.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what they want. That's their default setting.
Correct.
So now with that in mind, we can either kill them or not, and they will try to kill us. The negotiation, they're not interested in because that's not what's in their DNA. Sadly, that's it. We have to kill them.
It's 100% correct.
We can't make friends with them because they want Jews dead.
Yeah, everybody whose analysis of this war and even now in Lebanon, everyone's analysis that makes Israel out to seem like it's some monster that wants to kill the other side just only can have that opinion if you skip over the fact that the other side wants to kill the Jews, wants to get rid of Israel, and tries to do it. It's not just theoretical.
Of course.
Constant missiles, constant terrorist attacks. And then if we respond, somehow the story starts there.
Yes, I completely agree and 100% Jewed up on my side.
Love that.
But
love that.
I had the thought, and then the thought they always get to, it's every 50 years or so, it's the Jews are running everything. You know, they're running Hollywood, they're running the banks, they're running society. The Jews run everything. I remember thinking to myself, I'll sign off on that, even if it's true. I would be happy to have the Jews run everything. Well, what do you want? Who do you want running everything? The Mexicans? The Africans? Like, you tell me, the Italians? Who would you want to run? Let's just say, hypothetically, their thing is we got to get the Jews because the Jews are running everything.
Yeah.
Let's just hypothetically say that's true. And I just made you a chart of groups who get to run everything. Would you want Africans running everything?
I'm going with the Chinese overlords.
Yeah, would you want the Chinese running everything? Would you want the Mexicans running everything? Would you want the Egyptians? I'll take the Jews. Even if they're not running everything, I would sit back and let them run everything.
Look, I'm cool with any group doing it except maybe Hamas or Hezbollah, but being Jewish, I'm cool with it being Jewish people if it's true, which it remains to be seen. But I think certainly we have a fair proportion of people like running entertainment on account of we started the business, and so it's kind of the family business. But if we really ran everything and were in control in some nefarious way, this would be the Ben Gleib show, and my guest would be Adam Carolla.
That's right.
My career would be a lot farther along.
That's right. That's right. If you guys ran show business,
I mean,
you
really.
call your uncle and you cast you on some A-list type movies,
exactly
right?
That's exactly right.
By the way, the podcast called Last Week on Earth with Ben Gleib. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more.
Yep.
Oh, man. Let's see. Stuff to talk about. Had a funny conversation. There should be a podcast called Conversations with Massage Therapist Women.
Interesting. You have conversations?
I did.
Oh, you shouldn't do that.
No, well, I'll tell you what happened.
Please.
And I don't know how it works, but I'm staying at a dude ranch spa thing in Wyoming, and it's a corporate gig. as they call it.
Yep.
So I got run of the place. I can go do whatever I want. I go horseback riding, whatever. So I'm going down to the spa and get a massage. Well, the person goes, we don't have a massage. We're all booked up with the massage, but we can give you a facial. Now, I've seen enough porn. No. So I said, so I go, well, what's the facial? And she goes, well, we basically just massage your head. I go, all right, well, if there's no massage, but I could just get my head massaged for an hour and I ain't paying for it, then let's go with the facial. Mm-hmm. So the lady gives you the head massage, but you're on your back and you're propped up and she's hanging over your head. It's not on your face with your head through the donut.
Right.
Your head's back there. So now she's talking because she's there.
Well, also you're on your back because it's a face-based thing.
Face-based.
You know, so unless you want us to be on the ground working up like under a car.
So this woman's like in her 40s, and she's giving a massage. She's talking. They're all a little bit kooky, the massage ladies. You know?
Yeah, my sister's one.
Oh, see?
So,
you know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
You know
I
what
don't
I'm
know you
saying.
that well, but that tracks.
That tracks. So she goes. So I go to her. I go, you know, whatever you're seeing in my pores, there may be some makeup in there because I did a thing a few days ago where I had makeup on. Mm-hmm. And she goes, oh, makeup? And I go, yeah. And she goes, were you filming a commercial or doing a photo shoot or something? I said, well, I was doing a stand-up special. They filmed the stand-up special. She goes, oh, I always hate this one. Oh, should I know who you are? I'm like, it'd be nice, bitch. In terms of the tip, yeah, it'd be awesome for you. I go, I don't know. Some people know, some people don't know. Well, what have you done? I wanted to do comedy. I did Second City back in the day and blah, blah, blah. I go,
How exciting for you to be massaged by her.
I know. Yeah, yes, and, said her two hands. Yeah. So I go, she goes, well, what have you done? Like, what do you do? And I said, well, I mean, I've done Letterman a few times and The Tonight Show. And then she goes, as a stand-up, you done Letterman? I go, no, just as panel, as a guest on the show. And she goes, oh, okay. Which she looked at as kind of a downgrade, which is better to be a guest. Okay, anyway. And she goes, and what else? What else? I go, well, I've done everything. I guess I've done the Masked Singer, and I've done the Celebrity Apprentice, and I did Dancing with the Stars. And she goes, as a dancer? Yeah, well, kind of, but yeah, it's
not as the hot dog vendor.
Yeah, Dancing with the Stars. No, I'm not. First of all, thanks for the compliment. Like, I have the physique, evidently, of a professional. She saw the way I glided across the spa. Like, I didn't know. Why? Okay, what is she saying? And does she know what she's saying? And don't we just talk to women all day who just say shit and you have no fucking idea what they're saying? And I don't think they have any idea. They're just talking, right? I did Dancing with the Stars. I did Letterman. I did The Tonight Show. I did Celebrity Apprentice. I did The Masked Singer. And now I'm doing Dancing with the Stars. But I wouldn't be on Letterman as a professional dancer from 22 years ago, right? Like, and also clearly I'm not a dancer. Mm-hmm. What is she asking? And the big question is, does she know? Because I now think people just talk. They're just talking. You know, they're not even saying. Yeah. I could say, like, oh, you know, I saw, after hearing about the Menendez folks, I decided to kill my own parents. Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
You know
I think you're right. There's some truth to that.
That's great. A lot of people are doing it.
Does she think I was a professional dancer from Dancing with the Stars, or does she not know and not care, and she's just talking?
I'm going with choreographer. She thought you were, you know what I mean? She thought that you arranged all of that.
I said I was on Dancing with the Stars.
I think she thought maybe you made some cameo because she didn't recognize you, and she is stunned that she didn't know one of the stars from Dancing with the Stars. I don't think she thought you were the dancer, no offense. that we can rule out.
I had mixed feelings about her thinking I was a dancer on that show.
You liked it. You liked it.
It felt good momentarily, but then I realized she doesn't realize my star status, you know?
Or your
but
physique,
also,
really.
I just got done telling her it's on Letterman and the Tonight Show. So what does she think I was doing? Maybe dancing on this?
Part actor and all these things. She thought you were like Larry Bud Melman, who also
He's a
sits in the
character
audience.
actor. Yeah. He's in everything, but you know him, but you don't
Biff
know him.
Henderson.
Yeah, exactly. You got a headset on and you go, let's go.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I just realized I've had a million dopey conversations with massage people in my life.
I've only had, I think, one facial, maybe two facials, but I had one in Vegas once when I was shooting a TV show and they got mud on my face. They gave me a facial, and my facialist was this gorgeous woman who in the first 5 minutes of the facial tells me that she has been a Playboy playmate.
Oh, wow.
And I'm in this private massage room with a playmate. And then by minute 7, she mentions her husband, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, darn it, why do you get a playmate? And then and I ran into her years later at the mansion, too.
At the Playboy Mansion.
Very understanding husband. I guess. Beautiful woman.
Only facial I got was that guy from Dance with the Stars.
The other thing.
Was he a dancer? That night he was.
Yeah, he was.
Danced around that room.
Listen to the best laid plans that happened to me yesterday.
All right.
I have the 4-door SUV, and I am a fucking lazy person who transports shit in the rear passenger seat of my car. I will tend to bring stuff back. I just open the back door and I set it on the seat, and then I drive. And at some point, it'll fall over, or roll around, or what have you.
You don't seat belt it in.
No,
I don't belt it in. I don't
belt it
strap
in.
it down.
Okay.
I act like the car's not going to move.
Right, yeah.
You know, I throw shit in the back, and then I hear it rolling around back and forth. It's like, of course, you brought some glasses back, and they fell over. Now they're rolling.
Yeah, I mean, for the record, you know cars move.
Now I'm aware. Yeah, now I'm aware of it. And I've had it happen. I once was buying vodka, big handle for a party, like a handle of vodka, like a half gallon of vodka. And I fucking did the shit I always do. I just like set it, laid it over in the backseat of the car and drove home.
Yeah.
Got home, opened the door, and just had it fall. Because it wedged between the door and the fucking seat. And as soon as I opened the door, boom, just half gallon of vodka shattered on the driveway, right?
And now you're just on the ground lapping it up
lapping
like a
it
dog.
all up with a bloody tongue.
Possible.
Yeah. So I had to fucking hose it down and like clean all the glass and everything. And I've had it happen a few times, right? I set like a metal water bottle or something on the seat. It rolls over. It gets into the jam between the seat bolster edge and the door edge. And then when you open the door, it just, boom, everything's on the ground. So yesterday, I'm traveling around and I got a couple of glasses I'm bringing over to the other shop, and I got the water bottle too. And I go, before we watch football, I go to the liquor store, I get a 12-pack of Miller Lite. And I stop at the car and I'm like, oh, not this time. You're not going to open that side door and have the glass fall out and break. You're not going to open the other side door and have the water bottle hit the ground and put a big dent in it. Nah, not this time. I go around the back, open the hatch. As soon as I open it, bottle of whiskey that the guy from the Wyoming resort gave me. Like, we make our own whiskey right on side. I just open it, boom, right on the floor. Like, it was sitting in the fucking back from coming back from Wyoming. It rolled over the clothes and right to the edge. The parking lot was at a little angle at the liquor store, and all I did was hit the hatch, and it was like, brand new bottle of custom whiskey just exploded at my feet. I was like, motherfucker.
Damn.
This car's haunted.
You at least keep narrowly escaping having your car reek of alcohol.
That's right.
It's just the ground everywhere around you.
I do.
That's the positive.
Yeah. So that was frustrating. But
That's why you have to drink it all before you drive home.
you have to drink before you
Right.
drive home.
You can't risk it.
It's
otherwise.
like it's whatever it is. I gotta be more aware that stuff rolls around.
Stuff does
I
roll.
put shit in the back of my car. I act like it's never going to move, and it does, and it falls out
Park
all
on
the
the
time.
grass. Park on the grass.
That helps
every
Oh,
time.
I
also.
need to park on the
Drunken
grass.
on the
or
grass.
mattress
Right.
coat your carport. I mean, your last name literally is Car Roll. The lesson is in the
Roll,
name.
yeah, roll
Car
stuff.
roll, huh?
Who's got? rolling stuff out.
The message couldn't be more clear. God wants you to understand this.
You're right. My name is the act of things rolling out of cars.
Car roll, huh?
Yeah.
The whole thing is
the whole thing is something
you,
breaking at your feet.
Buckle it in.
Yeah. No, I felt like John Belushi in Animal House when they were bringing, were they bringing a bottle of booze out or was it and it broke and he was like, ah!
Yeah. And look how things ended up for him.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if Belushi was still alive. Would it be sort of Chevy Chase sad?
It's a good question.
You know what I mean? Because Chevy Chase,
he seemed nicer than Chevy Chase.
Yeah, I know. Chevy Chase was good looking and funny and virile, and now he's old and douchey and mean, and no one likes him, and he's lost his looks, and he's a douchebag. Evidently, would it be better if we just had the 34-year-old version of Chevy Chase in our head, forever?
Yeah.
Now we have this version.
He'd probably prefer it too.
Yeah,
that's what his bitterness comes from. Is he looks in the mirror, he's like, "I'm not." I think that's the problem. You can't be very good looking and very funny and maintain your sanity for too long. It's gonna go to your head very quickly. It was in his head season 1 of SNL. He's he quit after 1 season.
And not only that, I don't even if you go Chevy Chase's characters. He played Gerald Ford. He played Gerald Ford as a 31-year-old Chevy Chase
who did not
handsome. He didn't affect his voice.
Yep.
He didn't do any affectations. He was "Hi, I'm Gerald Ford." It would be if I said "Hi, I'm Tina Turner. Now let me do this bit."
Yep.
What's love got to do with any of this shit?
Yeah.
And everyone would just look at me you got to put a wig on or something. Don't you have to put a wig on? No. No, I'm Tina Turner.
Yep.
He just went, "I'm Gerald Ford." He didn't put the bald thing on. Yeah. He didn't do anything, and then he fell.
Yeah, even in Fletch, where he plays 12 characters, 8 of those 12 are just Chevy Chase, and then the other 4 are Chevy Chase with a slight Southern accent.
Are his movies the most overrated in terms of young people who saw them at the right age?
No, I think Fletch is the best straight comedy of all time.
See, that's what I'm talking about. But you were the perfect age to see Fletch.
Yeah.
And my theory is when there's a sweet spot of 14-year-old boys who when you see a comedy at 14, you go, that's the funniest comedy, whatever. And you watch it as an adult, especially a seasoned comedic adult now, and you realize it didn't hold up as much as my 14-year-old self thought it was. But I don't know if you went back and
Fletch holds up. I've watched it throughout the years. It holds up.
You see it periodically.
Yeah, it's good.
And what do you think it's at? What would you think Fletch would be at with the audience on Rotten Tomatoes?
I bet it's 85%.
How about room for my theory on Vacation or Christmas Vacation?
I think there's some room on that. I think Christmas Vacation's not that great and people love it.
Right.
They remember it better than it is.
Yes, but
I think
Fletch,
First Vacation is classic, but it's not as hilarious as you remember it to be. European Vacation's pretty good. Also some good sexy moments in there, which kind of fills the gap.
I like Vacation. I don't know. Yeah, the holiday, something about it.
Yeah.
79 and 81 is high.
What's
that?
79 and 81 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a high comedic score.
See?
Yeah.
For for comics, that's off the charts, really.
Yeah. No, it doesn't get, well, of course, I made a movie called The Hammer. It's a little higher than that.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, very rare. Very rare. Very rare. Yeah. All right. So holds up. I agree.
I think so.
I think society backs you at a 79 and an 81.
What comedy from your youth do you think was amazing that maybe we can judge whether it holds up or not?
I usually talk to other people, oftentimes women, and they tell me that Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is the funniest movie they've ever seen, or Ladybugs is the funniest movie they've ever seen. And I go, it's because you're 11.
Yeah.
It's because you're 11. If I was to be guilty of that, the movie that I saw when I was young, I saw a bunch of Gene Wilder movies when I was young. I thought Silver Streak was great, although Silver Streak is a really good movie. But then there were others like The World's Greatest Lover. I think was a Gene Wilder movie from that era. I mean, I would have thought Blazing Saddles, not really Young Frankenstein for some reason. I didn't vibe with that. There would have been like some Mel Brooks movies and Gene Wilder movies that I thought were probably funnier than maybe they really were.
Yeah, a lot of Gene Wilder movies. I mean, some were great. I think Silver Streak was great, and obviously like Willy Wonka, but a lot of them were just like, they would have like 1 or 2 scenes that were funny, and the rest was just Gene Wilder just flipping out a lot.
Yeah, The World's Greatest Lover is a 15% from the critics and 53 with the people.
Oof.
Yeah, not
and
great.
and I would have been 12 and laughing hard, and saying, "Oh, that was so funny."
Yeah, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels was pretty good though.
I was.
Ladybugs was just very stupid.
Yeah, very bad.
That was Rodney Dangerfield coaching a girls' soccer team, and his boy son pretends to be a girl on the team.
Yeah,
ahead of its time.
Ahead of its time. A
But not
trendsetter.
hilarious.
No. All right. Let's see. What I want to talk about. Oh, here's a weird one. Tell me if this is a great magnet situation, right? I'm not a religious man, but I believe in the great magnet. It just sort of things happen in a weird sequential ways sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. So I am going to do Adam Ray's show at the Comedy Store, and he's going to be doing his Dr. Phil show, and I'm going to be the guest, one of the guests. Chris DeStefano, was one, and let's see, Fortune Feimster was one, and I'm trying to think of who else. Tim Dillon was on. He had a bunch of good comedians to be the guest, and then me, and I was going to go up first. So I'd like the first thing I thought of, which is always funny when you guys think this way. I went and visited my dad in Pasadena. I'm out in Malibu. I had to leave my house at like 8:30 in the morning. I was going to be gone all day. I was going to be at the Comedy Store at 8 that night. I want to go back to Malibu, so I was going to be gone. Big, long day. And I brought myself a good, like, healthy protein lunch to eat because I knew I was going to be gone all day and busy. And I ate it. And then I was driving to the Comedy Store from Pasadena at about 7:30 at night, and I thought, good, you're not going to eat. You're not going to eat a bunch of shit at the Comedy Store. I've never ordered any food or anything over there, and you're not going to get home till about 10 at night. So just, you ate, you're good. You don't have to fucking eat dinner tonight. You'll be fine. So just go and then go home and watch some TV and go to bed. I come into the green room. It's a full barbecue setup, full with the fucking mac and cheese and the grits cornbread, like everything. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's a total spread. He's got this barbecue chef there, and I'm like, oh God, I guess I am getting into this now, So then the guy pulls out a brisket, and it's a big and beautiful brisket that he smoked and he did whatever. And he's got the knife out and he's cutting it. And he goes, take a little taste. I go, it's melting in my mouth. It's melting in my mouth. I was like, this is amazing brisket. This is good. And I go, I've traveled the country in search of brisket. And I'm thinking to myself, me and Mike August, we travel, we go to Martin's, we go to all the barbecue places, we get the brisket, and then Mike goes on these diatribes about this brisket is not as good as the brisket we had in Nashville, which is not as good as the stuff we had in Houston. This brisket's a little dry, and he does all these soliloquies like, you can tell by the brisket. If they can't do brisket, anyone can do ribs, but brisket, that's how you measure a barbecue. So this guy, I'm looking at the succulent brisket. We're in the backstage of the Comedy Store. He's some guy who knows Adam Ray. That's all I know. And he doesn't know who Mike August is. But as I'm eating the best brisket in the world, I'm thinking, I got to tell Mike. how do I get Mike this? Mike would go nuts for this brisket. Mike would go nuts for this brisket. He loved it. Almost all brisket talk with Mike.
Yeah.
Almost, it's 80% of our conversation.
That's why I've never connected with Mike that deeply.
You just not enough brisket. Yeah, bring up brisket. You're talking business and how good Fletch is and all that kind of stuff.
Why aren't you putting me on late night shows? All that
That's right, that kind of stuff. No, you got to talk brisket.
Yeah,
got it.
So I'm sitting there. And I'm trying to figure out this guy. Like, does this guy have a truck? Does he have a restaurant? Where do we get this? And I'm going, I gotta get Mike this brisket. I'm gonna get Mike this brisket. And then
you become autistic in your
and I have this
suit.
brisket, good.
Hypervigilant brisket.
Like Rain Man
Mike
with brisket.
would love it.
Good brisket. Yeah, good brisket. Mike, like, definitely brisket. Definitely brisket. Yeah, good. And I'm just standing there becoming autistic in front of this brisket. It was melting my brain, but I've become obsessed with Mike. He's not going to believe me when I tell him how good it is. I'm going to tell him it was better than the first time we went to Martin's and this, that, and the other. And I just go to the guy, where are you out of? Are you out in LA? Like, where's your restaurant? Where's your truck? And he goes, I'm out in Yorba Linda. And I go, I only know one person who lives in Yorba Linda, and his name is Mike August.
Oh, wow.
And I've never heard of any barbecue in Yorba Linda. Like, I think he's going to say the West Side or maybe the Valley or something. He says Yorba fucking Linda. Nobody lives in Yorba Linda. There's no barbecue and there's no scene. This guy's from Yorba Linda. And I just go, fucking Eureka. I need your name. And I got his name, and I told Mike the next day. Definitely brisket talk with Mike and Yorba Linda.
Was Mike excited? Had he
Mike
heard
was
about
fucking
this guy?
over the moon that this guy was. He hadn't heard about the guy. It was in his back. There's nothing in Yorba Linda but Mike and brisket.
And Richard Nixon's library. Those three.
Yeah, you need to understand that if you live in LA, there's 175 cities.
Yeah.
And there's like 6 that people care about and put restaurants in. And Yorba Linda is not.
No, it's
Yorba
not.
Linda is a deep ass cut.
It's Orange County.
It's like saying I'm from Hawaiian Gardens. It's who should be sued for that name because it's a shithole. But the point is when that guy said Yorba Linda, I was like, thank you. Thank you so much.
That's beautiful. This also is a great chance for me to mention the fact that Adam Ray is a dear friend of mine and has said he's going to have me on Dr. Phil Live and has not yet done that. So I would like to publicly call him out for that.
Yeah.
And put the pressure on.
Oh, yeah. Call him out.
Yeah, Adam, this is bullshit, and let's step it up.
Adam Ray, not good
Ray.
Adam.
No, exactly. And then secondly, it reminds me of one of the great insults hidden as a compliment I ever received in my career came from Mike August. Because for years and years, he was always booking different late night shows, the stand-ups, and he would never put me on. I would submit a couple times. And then at one point, we were talking at the Improv, and I'm like, I just released an album. And he says to me, that's really great, Ben. Maybe longer form comedy is what your thing is.
Oh, meaning your 5-minute
in
little
5-minute
bite-sized
chunks, impossible.
morsels.
We can't. We don't like you in 5.
Yeah, you got to
But maybe if you really have an hour to kill, then maybe you get slowly lulled into enjoying your comedy.
Mike was like, you don't just take a brisket and throw it onto a barbecue.
Exactly.
You smoke it.
Right.
You let it steep
He's
in
a
the
slow
flavors.
cook kind of guy. He's
It's a
doing his
slow
comedy.
cooking comedy brisket.
I get
That's
that.
his thing.
I get that.
He doesn't want any Lunchables when
Right.
it comes to comedy. He doesn't want any Hot Pockets
No.
or microwavable comedy. He wants a long,
Right.
slow, drawn-out, smoking process.
Which would have been great if his job weren't booking the short stuff. If he
Yeah,
was also
that's
giving
right.
away album deals, it could have been a great compliment.
Right.
But basically, he was just saying, not for me.
Yeah, because he's the one booking people on Kimmel or what have you.
I hope that brisket place is closed when he goes to visit.
Yeah, fuck Mike.
Oh, brisket.
And how can I be a bad person? You know, everyone says I'm a bad person. But when I got hold of this brisket, I just thought Mike's name 1,000 times.
That's
and
really
I have
nice.
to get, and I think I willed him into this conversation.
Yeah.
Guys from Yorba Linda.
That's why you're the big star that gets to do all the shows. That's why you're on Dancing with the Stars.
Right, as a
You're a
dancer.
giver. You're a giver. You're a dancer.
giver.
You got great pores.
Free facial.
Filled with makeup. Oh, this reminds me of a great moment. I was seeing this girl, and I just gone through a breakup, and so I was seeing this older woman, and it was going really great. But
Wait, how older?
She was old, very old. She was 7 years older, but to me that was a lifetime because I usually date younger girls.
And you were how?
This was a year ago, so I was like 45, and she was 52.
Oh, wow.
But she looked amazing. Still looks amazing. She would get carded at bars weirdly. Probably by bouncers that wanted to bang her, I guess, because she didn't look 21, but she looked maybe 38, 39. Anyway, she comes and spends the night at my house, and she goes in the restroom. We're about to get ready for bed, and she just gets really pissed all of a sudden and calls me in there, and she's like, holds up this makeup, and she goes, Ben, you could at least like put other women's makeup away before I come over. And I was just so
You're like,
excited to
check the
drop her
tone.
with, that's my makeup.
Yeah.
You know what I do for a living? I have a very feminine job. And I
do
sometimes
long form comedy,
That's
my lady.
right. I put makeup on slow because you sweat over the course of an hour.
That's right. When you're doing a mega set on stage, an extended dance set, which is what I do.
Yeah, slow burn, slow build.
Just au jus, cooking my own comedy
That's right.
juices.
Dip it in. Dip it in. Let it soak.
So that was your makeup,
That was
huh?
my makeup. As far as she knows.
Well,
It was.
I got a makeup kit here.
You do?
Yeah.
You don't use it for this show?
No, but what happens, here's what happened with makeup. What happened with makeup is you don't necessarily need makeup, but you do if the other person is wearing makeup.
Right.
So I never had to get my teeth whitened until I sat between two people on a TV show who had their teeth whitened.
yeah.
And now you have to whiten your teeth. So
Yeah.
that's how you do it. So what happens is when you do a hit on one of Jesse Waters' show, he's in full makeup. So when they
Veneers,
cut to
everything.
you look like an insane person, right?
Yep.
It's the contrast. If he would agree not to wear makeup and have a fucking shiny forehead and circles under his eyes, then you could not wear makeup too. It's the staring at him in full makeup and then cutting to you with zero makeup where you look like a piece of shit.
Facts.
That's all it is the contrast. If everyone just went makeup free, we could do this.
That's 100% fact because I've only in my life once dated a girl who was like a really successful like on-camera TV host. I think you might maybe even know her, Courtney Hansen. She's the car girl. She hosted Overhaul and all these things.
How'd she end up with?
That's a great question.
She
was very lucky to have me. You're right. You're
she's
right.
just smart. Like she's
One of
successful
FHM's
at-
100 sexiest women in the world. She made the wrong
And
choices.
knows cars.
And knows cars very well. And so when we were dating, she, one time I came over and maybe in the most aggressive way you could tell your boyfriend that he needs to whiten his teeth. She has amazing white teeth and she says to me, Ben, if you considered maybe just whitening your teeth, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Look at my teeth, they're white. And she literally had this prepared. She pulls out, I love her, we're still friends, but this was a hurtful moment. She pulls out a white piece of printer paper and a yellow piece of notebook paper and says to me, which of these two are your teeth closer to? Honestly,
Wow.
it was very painful. And I had to admit it was closer to the yellow than the white.
This is why you got to stick with the models and not the spokesmodels.
Yes.
Because the models just stand there.
And they don't talk great.
That's
They don't
right.
make
But
good
the
cases.
spokesmodels got to be all with
Yeah.
speaking and
She
whatnot.
could argue things back.
She's
I
a
don't like that.
spokesmodel. It's in the
Yes.
title.
Yeah, it's true.
It's spoke before model.
yeah.
You know what I
TV
like?
host reading things.
I like the actress slash model, the model slash actress, which I call a mattress.
People are always
They
feeding
love
them
it
the
when I
words.
call them a mattress.
They love that.
They
Yes.
love it.
Yeah.
Because it's a model and an actress.
No,
it's a
they must
mattress.
love that term.
You know what I mean?
They must love it.
They-
They
it's-
appreciate it probably.
Well, it's anyone like, Dr. J. That's his real name is Julius.
Correct.
But it's a tip of the cap. You're a model and an actress.
Yep.
Oh, man.
But I gave you a name like Froyo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really sweet.
You could say frozen yogurt, but we say Froyo. Mattress.
Yeah, you could combine actress and model and make it act doll or ass doll.
Well, that sounds like a terrorist
worse. It
now,
does.
you know
It
what I
does
mean? I don't want to get her droned.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
That's
I just
fair.
go with the super complimentary mattress.
Right. Yeah, no, they love that. Being associated with just sleeping with others.
Yeah.
They love that. I'm sure they love that.
Yeah, try
I'm not,
that
I'm
on
not
your
going to
neck.
try it. I'm not going to try it. I have a desire to connect with people.
Well, don't listen, you get the spokesmodel, you get the lecture on
I'm
teeth
not doing
whitening.
that again. I'm not doing
You
that.
get the mattress.
Them
You
in
get
my
the
defense.
mattress. There's no lecturing on
Fair.
teeth.
But I never
Understand?
whitened them. I just ignored it. I said, great
Smart.
point, and then moved on.
That's right.
And did not whiten them. And we're not together anymore. So there's also that.
Was it the teeth?
No, it wasn't the teeth.
Oh,
it wasn't the teeth.
no.
It was the constant fighting. God bless her. We just didn't get along great. We're much better friends than we are soulmates.
Well, she knows a lot about cars.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about cars.
Yeah.
Also, I was broke at the time. It was early in my career, and she was like very accomplished, hosted multiple TV shows. She had a house in West Hollywood, and Aston Martin, and I was so broke starting out my career. I went on a trip with her to Europe, and I spent so much money. My parents put me on a $10 a day budget when I returned from this trip. And to her amazing credit, she was cool with it. She's like, okay, we'll live on $10 a day, and we'll order in food, and I'll cook food. And I don't know why she stayed with me, to be honest, let alone was okay with that. But she was. She also could have just paid for better meals for us.
Sounds like a great lady.
She was a great lady.
Your parents put you on a $10 a day allowance in
Yeah.
your 30s?
I was 28, 27. I mean, they couldn't enforce it, but they suggested that I do it, and I thought it was a good deal because I was broke. It was unenforceable, but I gave a homeless man in Amsterdam, we were there, Courtney and I, $500 to save his life because we bonded with this homeless man. We were on drugs, and I told the story to my parents at lunch with Courtney when we got back. I'm like, can you believe it? I saved this guy's life. I gave him $500, and they looked at me like they wanted to sell me to the Taliban. They were
Wow.
so hurt that I was broke and gave $500 to this homeless guy. So
Yeah.
they restricted me a little bit.
So your parents are Jewish?
Yep,
Oh, okay.
correct. My mom's Israeli.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a tough Jew.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
For real.
And she's like the sweetest woman in the world, but also very tough. And served in the IDF. So like one time many years ago, she called my podcast. Wayne Federman was my guest. We were talking about whatever. And my mom just called my cell phone. So I decided I'm going to pick it up on the air. And she's like, I'm so sorry to bother you guys. I'm going to let you go. And I'm like, Mom, but something we're talking about, like the war, Israel, or something. And she goes, I have to go. But just always remember, I can disassemble an AK-47 in 10 seconds with my eyes closed. Goodbye.
See, people don't realize we're used to the domesticated North American Jew out here, the doctor, the dentist, the attorney. We're not used to the Krav Maga, big forearm, scary Jews that they have in Israel.
Correct.
We have super domesticated we bred them down to just paperwork Jews versus I'll fucking twist you into a knot Jew, which they have in Israel. So we get our Jews fucked up.
That's why Israeli women don't like me, because I am nervous around them.
Yeah, because they could take you out.
Yeah, no, I can't. I need more docile people to possibly be attracted to me.
You're the Americanized species. of
Correct.
Jew.
Yeah.
I see.
Once in a
Israel,
while,
I'm like,
they get some of the angry Israeli Jews over here, and that's a different Jew. That's not the Jew we're used to doing business. You know, the ones who run show business and whatnot over here. Yeah.
Control the weather.
These are the ones that run like car shops. They're like, you thought you're going to do it, okay? We are going to do it.
They yell, "What is a lot?" you know?
Okay, it's how we're doing it. They're like walking into a convenience store shouting, Hashem, Hashem. Who are you even shouting to? What could you be so angry about walking into an AM PM? You're getting a Slurpee. Like, why are you angry?
But it's literally like taking, picture a wolf, and now it's a Labradoodle.
Yeah.
You know, and like we bred them down to that here.
Yeah.
But they're wolves.
Yeah, they're free there. I mean, when you're under constant attack for your entire life, it hardens you a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody's like, you're on dates in a park, and the man always has literally a rifle, like an automatic rifle on his shoulder, while like walking in the park, making out with his
Really?
girlfriend. Everybody's got rifles.
Yeah, I mean, when you have to have like a safe room built into your home, that'll put you on edge.
It does indeed.
Yeah.
I was there in January, and just during the 10 days I was there, during this war, there was 170 rockets and 9 on-the-ground terrorist attacks while I was there.
Really?
So it's not calming.
No,
It's not zen. I'm getting a facial. She's removing makeup from my
That's
pores.
that's right.
And there's bombs going off. It's suboptimal.
I went yesterday on a long quest to find the tow truck car incident that was taken from the last Long Beach Grand Prix they ever ran. They ran the 40th. They collected an all-star group of drivers. I was amongst them, and I was trying to explain that during the race, there was a tow truck on the track, and it got hit at full speed by one of the cars. Now, and a tow truck driver or worker was millimeters away from being like killed, paralyzed, maimed. But what people don't really understand is how insane it is to have a piece of rescue equipment, on the track, and nobody stopped racing, which is total insanity, because the thing about the track is they have stations everywhere, and they're called flag stations.
Yeah.
And when you see the yellow flag, you go, okay, no passing. And there's full course yellows, and there's like local yellows, like, oh, yellow flag, I'm coming up on something that's broken or there's an accident. But they have red flags and they have black flags, and they got flags that are like, you wave them and everyone has to pull over and just stop. You don't get out of your car ever, but you would just sit in your car.
Also, just to clarify so people listening understand, this was like a celebrity car race. And were you there as a dancer? Or were you
I was there dancing.
Dancing?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like pre-show.
I was riding shotgun with Bergeron.
Carry on Anaba.
They had some celebrities in this race, and then a lot of professional indie drivers and professional drivers as well. This is like sort of all-star race. And they pulled a pickup, a tow truck out on a track to remove an accident, and they were waving yellow flags, and everyone ignored it. Everyone just said, we're racing, because let's just say there's 20 guys, and they're all racing. And you go, I will obey the yellow flag and slow down. If no one else slows down, they'll just get that much further past you.
Yeah.
You know? So everyone's like, fuck it.
Yeah, but they don't get DQ'd if they ignore it? Shouldn't you just DQ all the cars that
You'd
ignored
have to
it?
stop the race because everyone ignored it. Everyone just raced. But I'll show you the footage of the first guy hitting the wall.
Then it gets a little messy here into turn 8. Brett Davert into the wall, and I hope you're hungry for a big lunch because he's going to get a T-bone steak from Toyota Senior VP Bob Carter.
All right, that was pretty.
He got hit hard.
Awkward. Fortunately, Carter could sell you the
There's
replacement for that Toyota.
With the
There's a
logo yellow,
guy-
the tow truck is out there on the track. Cars buzzing by, and you better stay loose because incoming.
No.
Patrick Flannery goes all
No.
Boondock Saints. In the
I
back.
mean,
Carter's
that's
car.
a full
The track
speed
worked
crash
so
with
worse
dudes
that
just
he would be
standing.
okay.
He got
in the
taken
middle
out by
of
the knees,
track.
and he got right up. How does that? That guy's got great knees.
Dawson, I didn't undersell this at all. That was a full race speed crash with a fucking tow truck sitting in the middle of the track.
And
Did
a
I hear it
man
was Sean
standing.
Patrick Flannery driving? Did I hear
Sean
that correctly?
Good old
Patrick-
Sean Patrick
yeah.
Flannery. God
That's right.
bless him.
Boondock Saints, right?
That man got hit in the knees and got right up.
Yeah.
That guy could have. Well, first
Look at
off,
this.
that was the worst day that this guy's life avoiding that incident.
Or the best day.
No. Listen,
This guy knows he's impenetrable now. He's unbreakable.
Yeah,
as a
Unbreakable?
Jew, you have to understand that guy's working for a tow company.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, but we've
Out
been
of
through
Long
worse.
Beach.
We've been through worse.
No, I'm saying he's making $42K
That's
a
what
year.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Best year. That one hit in the middle of the Toyota Grand Prix, if it really would have caused some damage for him, we're talking millions.
Yeah.
Toyota, this is your fault. Sean Patrick Flannery,
Yeah,
we're going to have to
exactly.
empty your bank account. Like, or I'm suing the city of Long Beach. Like, you sent me out on a track that wasn't red flagged or black flagged, and these people continue to race, and you sent me out to do this, and now I can't walk.
Best day of his life. He's now a millionaire. He's on Adam Carolla right now.
That's what I'm saying. But this guy
Amazing
ended
moment.
up, this guy was fine.
I mean,
Just walked it off.
you got to limp for a couple weeks.
He's not an Americanized Jew.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. He's a standard Jew.
Yeah.
Wild.
Nuts, right?
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Did you see the accident happen live?
Now, poor Joe, but now that you bring it up, there's some in-dash, I don't know if my camera fell off or not. There's probably me going, you can probably see from my car point of view going around the accident or something like that. I was racing too, but I didn't have someone directly in front of me obscuring me from the tow truck. So I came around the corner and I saw there was a tow truck. Now, the tow truck's on the racing line. So when
Yeah,
you
I
come
see
around the corner, that's where you're heading, but you see it and you weave in. I saw it and weaved in because I saw it as soon as I came around the corner. You couldn't see it from in front of the corner. It was around the corner, and they have barriers. So there was nothing to see, but I came around and saw it and could avoid it.
That's why you're a bigger star/dancer than Flannery.
That's right. Yeah, Flannery and that tow truck driver's dancing days are over.
True.
That's true.
But his flying days have just begun.
That's right. All right, we'll take ourselves a break. We got some news with Mayhem, and we'll do that right after this. Simply Safe. If you're like me, you think about safety, and you think about people. And that's who you value the most, because you can replace the watch or the necklace, but the people. And there's a lot of crime, especially going on here in L.A. I mean, every time you turn on the radio, some other celebrity got their home busted into, and those are just the ones they're reporting on. I've trusted Simply Safe to protect my home for over a decade now, and I've partnered with Simply Safe to offer my listeners 20% off a system. Just visit simplysafe.com/Adam. We all use it here. And when you pick up and move, you pick up your Simply Safe system and you move with it. It's not hardwired. They also have exclusive live guard protection. Simply Safe agents can act within 5 seconds of receiving your alarm and can even see and speak to the intruders inside of your home. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News & World Report 5 years running. And Best Customer Service by Newsweek. It is Simply Safe, right, Dawson?
Protect your home this summer with 20% off any new Simply Safe system when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/Adam. That's simplysafe.com/Adam. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Tommy John, here's a simple life hack. Upgrade with Tommy John. When you upgrade with Tommy John, you'll be more comfortable and everything will be better. I'm wearing my Tommy Johns right now. I wear them if I ever wear sweatpants or shorts, and that's almost all the time. So that's when I wear Tommy John all the time. Second Skin underwear has dozens of comfort innovations, like a supportive counter pouch and horizontal quick draw fly, plus breathable, lightweight, moisture-wicking fabric with 4 times more stretch than competing brands. Over 20 million pairs sold, thousands of 5-star reviews. Tommy John doesn't have customers. They have fanatics. That's why I'm wearing mine right now. Midnight blue. Good color for Tommy John. It's the best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free. Guaranteed. It's Tommy John, right, Dawson?
Get 20% off your first order now at TommyJohn.com/Adam. Save 20% on Second Skin at TommyJohn.com/Adam. TommyJohn.com/Adam. See site for details.
Although I'm not even sure, honestly, the point of therapy with the world as it is now, you know? We're living in a post-truth era of fake news on an anti-science, eroding democracy on a crumbling planet. You know, it's good to analyze your life. Analysis is good, but don't overdo it. Don't worry about it too much. If analysis were that important, it wouldn't be made up of the words anal and ISIS.
Ben Gleib is on the Adam Carolla Show.
I will remind people that want to watch this show live, they can do it every day via Substack. Ben Gleib's here. Mayhem's got the news. Why don't we get into that news, Mayhem?
Got some news. First up, hypersonic jet that can reach speeds of 3,600 miles per hour. Take test flight in 2025.
All right, let's break it. Let's break it down, everybody.
I mean,
all right, that's New York in under an hour. Wow. And that's France in 2 hours or under an hour. Under 2 hours. I mean, it's takeoff and landing and stuff like that. So just so everyone knows, because I know a little something about this subject, the fastest plane in the world was always thought to be the SR-71 Blackbird. That was that crazy black military-looking jet, which never had weapons on it. It was a spy jet, but it could just outrun anything the Soviets could throw at it. So it would go, I think 2.7 Mach or something like that. It would go like 2,500 miles an hour, which is basically, they could just fly right over Russia. And by the time it came onto the radar and the Russians got their rockets fixed on it, it was gone. So it was so fast. Before that, we had a U-2, which was a slow plane that flew so high, we didn't think the Russians could shoot it down, but they did. And that's what happened to Gary Powers, by the way, the pilot.
Oh, damn.
Ends up being a prisoner in Russia for flying the U-2 spy plane. Then that plane was built in the 60s. I mean, even the late 50s, it was designed by Lockheed, and it could fly at that speed. The Blackbird, the SR-71. So this is pretty miraculous, but
This goes 3,600 miles an hour?
Yeah.
versus like 2,600 miles
And this
an
is
hour.
a passenger?
Yeah.
This is a passenger
Jet?
plane. It's
Yeah.
kind of similar to the Concorde. What it does is it goes really high. It flies very high, close to the damn edge of space. And then it has regular engines, but then once it gets really high, kicks into rocket boosters. So
Yeah, so if you
Charge
want to
it.
go super fast, you got to get out of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because there's way too much resistance.
This leaves the atmosphere?
well, it doesn't go quite out of the atmosphere, but right at the edge where you can see space and see the curvature of the Earth. But yeah, that once those rocket boosters kick on, it's just cruising 3,600 miles an hour.
It gets to where the air is so thin.
I'm just
That's
concerned
not
about my
pulling it
ears
back.
popping. I feel like it's going to be next level ear popping.
At least once.
You can chew gum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think about gum.
And so this is good, but like a ticket from LA to New York is going to cost $17,000.
Yeah.
Like that's the way they're going to do it.
Yeah, I'd rather just spend 3 more hours. I sleep on the plane anyway. Imagine you go on this thing and you just like sleep.
Yeah. No, I'm going to go on
wish
this
it was
thing.
longer.
I'm going to pay like $26,000 to get to JFK, and I'm going to go up and I'm going to go, would you like a drink, Mr. Crown? I'll take a vodka, soda water, and lemon. We have lime. No lemon. No, not since COVID. What's lemon have to do with COVID? Sir, would you like a drink? We have, and by the way, we have reconstituted lime powder. You like powder, right? You don't have wedges.
Whoa.
It's $27,000 ticket. Yeah, we have lime powder.
The limes are going to weigh us down too much.
Yeah, it's like,
Limes overboard. Also, imagine you just get to the airport late and you miss it, and you have to just take middle seat commercial when you paid $27K for this supersonic jet. That's not going to
it's
feel
not
good.
going to be a lot of headroom either, because they have to make those things very tight and kind of aerodynamic.
You have to kind of lay back.
The tickets are going to be super expensive. That much I can promise.
I wonder
you.
if it's Southwest. I'll be late to it. Have to sit
You're not allowed to bring
in the
bags
back.
on this one either.
No.
They send the bags. You have to wait at the airport for your bags to arrive.
Did they
It's just-
say, are they ever going to make this plane?
I mean, it said 2025. They're doing test runs of it.
Who's building it? Does it say?
Yeah, Venus Aerospace. They're planning
Sounds like a lube company.
It does. It's unlocking the high speed and flight economy for both commercial and defense aircraft. So this Venus Aerospace is, got their hands in a lot of pies.
They're also making pies?
I guess so. Yeah.
Listen,
Really?
it should be, first off, we need this.
Yeah.
Because we move, think about, all right, I'm going to lay this out. I haven't really thought about it, but let's just see if we can hash this out. From the time of the Wright brothers to the time that the Beatles came to the United States, we moved at breakneck speed in terms of commercial and military, but like commercial air. Okay, so first we had the Wright brothers, and we had no commercial, whatever. And then we started doing planes with another seat, that were open cockpit, biplanes and stuff, covered with canvas. And at some point we got like a plane that had 2 engines and 2 props and held 24 people and flew at 150 miles an hour and not above the weather, below the weather and everything like that. But from the time the Wright brothers, or at the time of like the first commercial plane, just a spindly kind of fixed wing little passenger prop plane, from that time to when the Beatles came here on Pan Am, was only like 45 years. We maybe 35, 40 years.
35,
we covered a lot in a short period of time. From the time of the Beatles to now, we've regressed.
A big time
All we
regress.
get is fucking attitude
Yeah.
on the flight. And first class is like, sir, would you want a hummus box? Like, no, what about a carving station? We have a hummus box.
The food's gone horribly backwards. The service has gone backwards.
You're eating everything with a plastic spork, you know what I mean? Like, everything's gone down.
Used to be super attractive flight attendants, and as Bill Dwyer put it, they don't turn over that industry quite as much as they used to.
That's right.
Now
Can't
it's the
even
same
smoke
original.
cigarettes.
No, it's the OG stewardess flight attendants that are now just elderly.
Gay
can't
dudes
smoke
up
anymore.
there throwing around attitude.
Yeah, not just attitude.
Yeah, cock.
Yep.
Yeah, there used to be,
Slanging it.
There used to be in first class. They had a Sunday cart. They would roll down the middle of the thing and go
like that.
I would just sit there and they go, "Would you like a sundae, Mr. Carolla?" I go, "Yes, I would." And they'd go, "Would you like the butterscotch, the hot fudge, or what was the third one? Butterscotch, hot, or the marshmallow, whatever?" And I go, "All three, baby." And they would just pile it all three on, and they'd hand you a cup with the saucer, and then they go, "You want the nuts on it?" I go, "Give me the nuts." I go, "Whatever. You want the whipped cream on? Put the whipped cream. Whatever you got, baby, put it on there." And it would just sit on my tray and sweat. Like the ice cream would start going over the side, and I'd eat it without my hands. I'd just
Like you were in a contest.
First fucking class, baby.
Oh my God.
They had a cart at the end, like where the bulkhead is, that had champagne in it and stuff. Like, it was first class.
Yeah.
And now you don't even get honey roasted peanuts anymore.
No.
That was always the big
No,
luxury.
hey, would you like a sack of Fiesta mix?
You want almonds?
Like a little dishwater, wash that down.
Two
Here's two
cinnamon
almonds.
cookies.
Pretzel bites. Son of a-
Stale pretzel sticks. And you want? Let's just call it what it is. Would you like some empty carbs?
Yep.
Because here it is. You
Yep.
like sodium?
Tasteless.
You like carbs? Here's a bunch of shit your doctor told you to stop eating. Here we go. You get nothing. Oh, wait, you do get something. Attitude. But the time it took the Beatles to get from JFK to LAX in 1964, exact same time it takes us to get there now.
Yeah.
We didn't shave a second off of that.
And less delays then.
Less delays, more attitude. So
Yep.
we got nothing. So we need something like this.
Moving on from air travel, the Rust film premiere, Helena Hutchins' peers lash out, promoting the film that killed her. Alec Baldwin's film Rust is gearing up towards world premiere at Poland's Energia Kamerari. Very strange camera image. Camera image. Camera. It's a very
well, they
Polish
can't get
kind of
into
thing.
Cannes having killed people. They have to go
Exactly.
obscure festivals.
The International Cinematography Film Festival next month, and is being slammed as tone deaf by industry peers of the late Helena Hutchins. Pretty harsh.
I work on docs. I'm making a K-Rock doc. If something happens to me, I would hope the doc comes out. Now, if I'm killed by a piece of equipment on the that's an act of God, by the way. But
What if the director of the doc killed you?
what I
Still want the doc
him-
coming out?
You know, if Nate killed me, I'd assume it was an accident. Like it wasn't done with lust or vengeance.
I'll tell
in
him.
his heart. Tell Nate.
I'll tell him.
to carry on.
Okay.
Plus, there's a bottom line. There's a couple of ducats that are coming out of that thing. I got to make people whole again.
Fair.
You know what I mean? Like, there's people. Mark Garagos cut a couple of checks to get the K-Rock doc made. I can't go to Garagos and go, "Hey, man, we're not feeling it. Like, sorry about your money, but we decided it'd be in poor taste." Somebody funded this thing.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is.
When did they finish making it? They finished filming it after the killing happened.
So they had to know it was coming out,
They
right?
had to know this. This isn't shocking to anybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't say exactly. It's been 3 years since that happened, so it's been in post-production for quite a while.
What I would like to see is the re-edit of the actual famous scene where the shooting happens, and you're going to see an up-close shot that Alec Baldwin probably insisted is in there now, where his finger's like not even on the trigger and it just shoots itself.
Yeah, that's like a whole
see? Do you
sidebar.
understand?
Oh, wait,
I didn't
that's
touch
Baldwin.
it.
That's Baldwin.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't touch the trigger at all. You understand? I mean, he keeps having this happen. I don't know if you heard this on Boss Baby 2. He does the voice of Boss Baby, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
His voice killed a couple of people.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
just doing VO work?
Just doing VO. He wasn't even physically in the room with these
Hand
people.
of God?
Yeah.
Wow.
I would not. How could I make that up?
No.
You can't. You know they say you can't make it up.
You can't make it
You
up.
can't make that up.
Hey, Joe, as I recall from that race, the dash cam ended up in my lap. I remember we mounted it like on suction cups or something, like on the windshield, and it fell off during practice. And I said to my guys, I can't have this thing fall off during the race. And they duct taped it. About halfway into lap one, it landed on my lap. And then all I did was get pissed off in the middle of the race, and then it fell to my feet where the clutch and the brake and the thing was rolling around underneath the fucking pedals, and I was like going out of my mind because I couldn't get it out. I couldn't stop or pull over.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of a fucking race with the clutch and the gas and the brake all the time. This thing was just rolling around my feet.
Right next
and
to
I
the
remember
vodka bottle.
I told Chris, you better tape this thing on. It can't, but it was a hot day, and the windshield got hot and it fell off. So I don't... You might be able to find a first lap, and then it falls, and then the thing fucking falls off. But it's somewhere. But in our labeling mission, when I'm out of town, that'll be part of the things we label.
I heard, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that on the overpass above where the tow truck driver got taken out by the knees, Alec Baldwin's up there cackling.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it again.
I saw him up there. Yeah.
I've struck again.
Speaking of racing, influencer Jack Doherty crashes his $200,000 McLaren while driving on live stream. Yeah,
There's going to be a lot more of this, isn't there?
This is not the first time this kid has done
Oh,
this.
he's in the rain.
In the rain. Here we go. I'm glad
Looking
we
at
have
his phone.
this.
Looking at his phone.
His cinematographer is staring at Alec Baldwin.
He's...
No.
Just lost. Was he going around something?
No.
Looked like he was
looked like
intentionally
straight
driving
away.
into the...
Yeah.
Fuck, open the door, open your door.
He's like, I'm going to get content. Let's risk
Holy
death.
shit.
And he
Oh,
totally
shit.
did.
Holy fucking shit.
This guy seems like a bad
Oh,
actor to
Michael.
me.
Nah, he's just a bad person.
Are you okay?
In fact, the entire
fuck.
internet just really doesn't even want me to
Oh
say
my
his
God,
name.
bro.
Oh,
Because,
really?
yeah, because everybody just hates this guy.
Wait a minute.
He's also-
Isn't that...
What?
Bro, my whole fucking car, bro.
I like when a guy's bleeding and I'm
No
talking about his
fucking
car.
way.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh my god.
Is that that's a McLaren?
That's a McLaren, yeah.
No, yeah.
No fucking... Michael, here.
That thing is total.
Do you have a film on that?
You think the whole entire
He's bleeding.
engine
He's telling me to
disappeared?
film. Well, the engine's in the back.
Oh, my mistake.
Yeah, come on.
Sorry.
This guy knows nothing about
I know
supercars.
nothing about supercars.
We should get Courtney in here to talk
See
Yeah.
how
about
yellow that guy's
Get
teeth
Courtney
are,
to
though? He's
coach
got
me.
yellow teeth.
Yellow teeth. It's a lady. He hit the barrier. He hit
Yeah,
the
I mean,
rail.
this
the
is
K
not-
rail.
Yeah.
Call it. Yeah.
The backstory of this is like this guy has rolled like one of those silly kind of like cars that off-roading kind of cars. He rolled one of those before.
You're talking about like a quad runner or
yeah, like
something
a quad.
that?
He's done that. He's flipped a Can-Am. That's what it's called. I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
But and he also rolled a golf cart and almost broke his girlfriend's neck.
Oh,
This guy
really?
just constantly. I don't know. He's the next State Farm guy. I
He's
guess.
worse than Hulk Hogan's son.
Yes.
I realize this is part of the problem, but I'm going to follow this guy. Sounds
Yeah, this sounds
fascinating.
intriguing to me, too.
Don't do it. Yeah. He's got 15 million subscribers.
Oh,
so
August
jump
texted
in.
me and said this kid's got it. He's trying to book him for 5 on Kimmel right now. Told me.
This guy doesn't need a slow setup at all. He goes right for the punch.
Yeah, it's the juicy brisket of content creators, you called him.
He got kicked off of Kick, which is a streaming platform which lets you do basically anything, but this guy just finally just pushed it beyond the limits.
I don't know. I got kids. I got mixed feelings about them making 10 times more than me on doing some bullshit on the internet and then making fun of me.
Yeah.
I kind of want them to, but on the other hand,
You'd be able to chill. You'd be able to chill more.
yeah.
Just demand a piece of it.
Yeah, my parents put me on $12 a month the other day, so things are tight at the Carolla
12
house.
is fancy, man. That's
Yeah, my
20%
dad-
more than me.
My dad called me, said he'd been talking to the Gleibs and he wanted to kind of put me on a diet, you know what I mean? Like sort of fiscally, you know? He was nice about it, but I understood, so he maxed me out at 12 a month. I said, Dad, it's not enough for my car insurance. He said, well, tighten that belt, boy. You know what I mean?
Stop looking at your phone while you drive in the rain. You're good.
Yeah, it's like I had brunch with Mr. and Mrs. Gleib. You know, she's a handful, but we got to talking, and they had some techniques for parenting middle-aged kids, and I listened.
Yeah.
So I got the call.
Well, here's a little thing from your neck of the woods, Adam. A Malibu homeowner accused of stealing sand has done so before, the Coastal Commission says. Yeah, as the Milwaukee Brewers begin their playoff run, the owner, Mark Atanasio, is embroiled in a legal battle back in California revolving around one of the state's most precious resources, sand. So,
yeah, first off, I thought children were like our most precious resource, but it turns out it's sand.
It's sand. Everybody knows
Sorry,
it's sand.
kids, move over. There's a new sheriff in town. His name is Sand.
That's right. We only need kids to build the castles of sand.
Yeah, castles of
It's
sand.
cheap child sand castle labor.
We really don't need the kids. We need the sand.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
I read a whole book on this before where sand is integral to the construction of concrete and
You read a whole book on sand?
Entire book
Okay.
called Sand.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just they're in
Baldwin shot somebody during the writing of the book, and they still released it.
I assumed a gun made
there's-
of sand would not be a danger.
There's entire cartels in India who just steal entire islands of sand.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's a
Is that
thing.
for like fake Dubai beaches?
I don't know. Yeah, for anything. Yeah, they're
But
doing
what else
a lot.
are you using sand for?
Well, the big thing right now is
You read the book.
computer chips. There's
silica.
specific, silicone. Yeah,
They
there's a
just
specific
filter
kind
it.
of sand. You can't just take any sand off the beach.
No.
You got to have a specific sand that's really high grade to make silicone.
And there's big hourglass.
Yeah,
You're
also
trying
that.
to corner the market on
Yeah.
sand.
Yeah.
You know?
Oversized hourglasses.
They're buying out all the ma and pa hourglass manufacturers. They're outsourcing to China and India. They got kids working on their hourglasses. So you got to keep an eye on them.
Yeah,
They're
like-
hoarding sand.
like sands through the hourglass.
So are the days of our lives.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
right. That's right on their letterhead.
Also, many people don't know that when you sift the right silica out of sand, the bullets are undetectable. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, so this guy was probably just trying to get a seawall going over there.
Yeah,
Or
he
he just
did.
wanted like a fake beach in his backyard.
He did. Yeah, and in 2008.
What did he want it for? Did it say what he wanted the sand for?
He was constructing an illegal seawall made out of sandbags, metal poles along a stretch of public beach. So essentially, he was like blocking off the public throughway.
Let me explain the reality of Malibu and the Coastal Commission. You got a bunch of super rich guys. You know, you got Kevin Costner having acreage in Ventura and Santa Barbara, and I was like, acreage. I've been there. Just acres of beachfront property, right? So you have some of the most successful rich people in the world, and then you have the over-officious douchebags at the Coastal Commission who make $37,000 a year, but Kevin Costner can suck their dick. They hate all these fucking people. They hate anyone who's rich. They hate anyone who's white. And they hate anyone who wants to build anything. They don't live in Malibu, but they're in the Coastal Commission. So when the owner of the Milwaukee Brewers goes, I want to build a thing in front of my house in Malibu that's $50 million, they go pound sand. See what I did? They tell that guy to fuck off.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Kevin Costner can't build a house on his land because they won't let him. It's not like they own the land. He owns the land, but they're in charge of the permits.
How are they getting these spots on the
How
Coastal
you get
Commission?
that job? Yeah.
Shouldn't it be local people?
Well, it's like the LA City Council. You have to be one of the dumbest postmenopausal bitches in the city and have no life and be super angry, and then you get that job, and then you shut the city down during COVID or whatever it is.
And you mean men or women, obviously.
Yeah, but mostly women. But yeah, mostly women. Well, LA City Council is mostly women and guys who think or are scared of them.
Who's
basically.
this Coastal Commission? What are they?
It's like 7 dumb fucks who are fucking power drunk who just go, we're in charge, and you can't do anything. And so if Spielberg wants to build a new studio, they go, that's in the wetlands. We'll take a vote on it. And then they just come back and they go, sorry.
This sounds like
And
you're
there's
trying to build
nothing
your
you
own
can do.
seawall, Adam.
I'm
and
trying to make a seawall.
You're very bitter about this.
I am. So rich guys start going, I'm never going to fucking get a permit for any of this. Like the people who never tried to build anything in LA or build anything in Malibu or something, they'll go, just go get a permit and build your deck over the ocean. It's like, there is no permit. They will never give you a permit. They will not let you do anything. I was at a rich guy's house in the beach, whatever, looking out on his balcony. This guy had a professionally made seawall. Everything was good, worked like a charm, blah, blah, blah. Coastal Commission was in the process of making him tear it down, even though it was already in place and worked and functioned perfectly, didn't affect anything. They're making him tear it down. They're making him tear down half his house because it's too close to the weather. They will fuck your shit up 20 ways till Sunday. You don't get to build shit. It may be your land. You may be cutting the checks to the construction company and the architect and the firm and everything else. You don't get to do jack shit. And it's, by the way, a lot of the reasons why a piece of shit house in the valley is $1.7 million because, and you go, oh, that same house in Indiana is $210,000. Yeah, we're so regulated, we don't build here because anyone's a commercial developer goes, well, fuck this. I can't negotiate with these assholes. I'm not going to build it. We're overfishes and there's way too much regulation. And the tip of the spear of regulation is the Coastal Commission. They do not let you do anything. I told people, Suzanne Summers and Alan Hamill, her husband, Alan Hamill, I had dinner with him 3 weeks ago. They lived in Malibu. Their house burnt down. They wanted to rebuild. Coastal Commission fucked them up so many ways that they moved to Palm Springs. Hey, they go, he comes back to Malibu like every 2 weeks. He comes back. He calls me. He goes, let's have dinner. I go, okay. I go, Alan, you love Malibu so much. And Suzanne, your wife loved it so much. I go, we loved it. We loved it. This is our favorite place to live. I go, your house burnt down. Just rebuild now. He said, they wouldn't let us. It took 7 years. What? And some 35-year-old bitch has said no. And that's that. So they fuck. So what rich guys do is they go, oh, fuck this. I'm just going to get those Mexicans to take that Bobcat over there and start bringing fucking sand over to my shit. Because if I ask permission, the answer will be no 1,000% of the time. So I have no idea what this case is, but I agree with the rich guy and not the Coastal Commission because the Coastal Commission will not let you do anything.
This is exactly why I'm comfortable keeping my life level at around $10 a day because I don't have to deal with any of these problems. It seems very stressful.
This is part of my dad's pitch.
Very
He's
stressed
like,
out.
Ben's parents.
Yeah. Your dad gets
$10 a day.
Exactly.
Yeah, he sent me one of those books from the 70s that said Los Angeles on $10 a day. Lots of places. I can sleep. He called it a youth hostel. I think I can sleep.
It's
at.
great there.
Oh, it's great.
You can meet a lot of out of work travelers, also on a budget themselves. They're on $5 a day. You look like a fat cat on 10.
I remember my dad saying, top ramen, son? Do you really need the top ramen?
Medium ramen's fine.
Medium or lower ramen?
Yeah. Or if things get real desperate, just raw men in general.
Bottom ramen?
Yeah.
A raw man?
Yeah, whatever you need.
Whatever you need.
Which also, by the way, what you just told us about Kevin Costner reminds me of the great riddle of all times. What do, other than Malibu living, what do you have in common with Kevin Costner? Are you aware of what it is?
Other than Malibu living?
Yeah.
Well, no, wait. Costner's not in Malibu.
But he's in the same
He's
commission.
coastal. He's coastal.
Okay,
yeah.
so not even that. The only thing you guys have in common, he dances with wolves, you dances with stars.
Right. As a professional dancer,
Correct.
obviously. No.
You get real close to those stars, though, with that physique, and you tempt them. You tempt them.
When I found out JoJo Siwa was a lesbian, I was crestfallen. Because we had such a bond.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of bond that you really only have as an instructor.
I get it. The other similarity you and Costner have, by the way, makeup-filled pores.
That's right. We're both lousy with makeup.
Absolutely.
Good man.
Yep.
Also, a decent baseball player. You know, I think we got that.
For the
All
love
right,
of
is there
the game.
anything we're missing here?
No, we got it, bud.
You got it?
Yeah, we got the news covered.
I got to. Anyway, whenever I hear the term Coastal Commission, I always side with whoever's battling the Coastal Commission. And
That came across.
Yeah, we got it.
I thought I was
That was
unclear.
pretty
I was
clear, yeah.
And also for all you assholes out there, you just have to understand how big and overregulated and unruly our government is, and you should be fighting against that. You know, everyone always talks about like taxes or free speech or whatever. Over fucking regulated is devastating. It fucks up the cities, it fucks up the economies, but it fucks you up. But it is a kind of bottom line lack of freedom. Like you go, I bought this property, I pay taxes on this property, I'd like to build something on this property, and someone from the city goes, no.
Yeah.
That is, the founding fathers would not be happy about that concept.
Smart regulation important. Purposeless regulation from bitter people on commissions that want to stop you from enjoying your life, different story.
It gives a
That
lot
is
of government
correct.
people a lot of jobs to tell you no.
Yes.
I can
All
tell
right.
you no for free. Give me $1 extra a day. I'll tell you no all day.
11.
I'm in.
You guys know the singer Björk, right?
Oh, do I ever?
Absolutely. She's the one that's part spoon and part fork, right?
Yeah, she's a Björk. She's what you get on the cheap flights. Now.
Absolutely.
I am going to spell her last name.
Oh, great.
Not that you haven't already committed it to memory.
Of course.
Björk's last name, and the reason she goes by Björk
Yeah.
is because, and you're going to have to help me with this, Joe, because I don't even know what these symbols are above some of these letters. But,
Umlauts?
yeah, but no. She has an umlaut. Well, she has an umlaut in front of the O on Björk.
Oh.
That's an umlaut, right?
Yeah.
Just to help you out in advance, the third letter is some sort of D. It's not an O.
It's not an O. Okay. Her last name is Gudmundsdottir O with a dash over it, Ttir.
Godmundisdottirs.
Yeah. I don't know.
Godmundisdottirs.
Let's
That's,
hear.
that's also how you say titties in Norwegian.
It is.
You like
huh?
my Godmundisdottirs?
Can we hear what would the computer say when you ask the computer to pronounce Björk's full name?
That might be how you counter AI. It's just asking the computer to say that. It melts AI. It breaks the system.
Yeah.
Destroys
The silicon
ChatGPT.
itself
That should be
destroys.
the prove you're not a robot. And, like you can say Björk's last name.
Prove you're not any being.
Right. Her dad has even crazier name than her, but I was just staring at her last name the other night. Mind being blown. But I can't see now Björk's one of these people where I go, I can't tell if I like her or not. Like would I really like her or would I hate her?
It depends how drunk or high you are. I think the drunker or higher, the more you love her.
The more
then
you
you get
love
to a
Björk.
certain point where you get scared of her. Mm-hmm. You get to a certain high level, and you're like, it's creeping me out now.
Yeah.
Talking like these, old.
Yeah.
It gets a little intense at some point.
We can play the
She pulls the
pronunciation.
swan outfit out.
Yeah, I was listening to her song. It's so quiet or something. Whatever
Yep.
her one was. You remember that one?
It's so quiet.
It's so quiet. Yeah, how do you know that one?
Buddy, I'm a big. This is like my teenage crush you're getting at right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Then play that when you're entering the octagon.
Yeah, exactly. 14-year-old me would have married Björk. For
You
sure.
loved Björk.
I loved her.
Interesting.
Did you
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
know her last name?
Nah, never. You're just breaking open into a new portion of my knowledge.
You
right
really
now.
wanted the other white meat, huh?
Yeah, I
Björk.
thought she's so adorable and artistic and moody, and it was just something cool.
I
don't
love
know.
that video.
Yeah, it was
And
great.
did you know also she's the daughter of former Surgeon General Robert Björk?
Oh, absolutely.
That I know.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
All right, can the computer pronounce her name?
Björk Guðmundsdóttir.
That's why I
Ooh,
said.
not bad. Good and started.
Good and start.
Good and started.
All right, let's hear it again.
It's also,
Björk Guðmundsdóttir.
Oosh.
that's the sound you used to make when you would pleasure yourself
exactly.
to your
I
Björk
would
fantasies.
think about that.
Björkingstokter.
Army of me.
Quinnenstache. What a crazy name. That guy's too breathy.
Yeah.
I need someone a little more succinct. You know what I mean?
She's not weird enough for having that name. I feel like
Björk Guðmundsdóttir.
Gomenstata.
daughter.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Björk Guðmundsdóttir.
Common's daughter. You know Common, the rapper?
Björk
Worst rap name ever.
Guðmundsdóttir.
Yeah.
It really is
That's his
horrible.
daughter.
Well,
It's
that-
not great.
It's such a low self-esteem rap name.
Yeah.
you
No,
know?
no, his
Basic-
original name was Common Sense, and he
Oh,
shortened
he
it
just
once
went
he
to
got
Common.
famous.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
that
Common
one-
Sense, yeah.
Oh, because I've been harping on him for having such
I
a
know.
fair to middling rap
And
name.
last time I was on and you mentioned him, I didn't say anything. This time I'm jumping in
His last-
to tell you, Common Sense. That was it.
Oh,
That was
really?
it. Yep.
It's not much better.
That's
in
not
some
that
sense.
dynamic.
It's a little
It's
better.
Yeah.
not. It's not.
I go by Frugal.
Yeah.
You know, that's a
Yeah.
shitty rap name.
Sense is better than common if you're going to shorten it.
No, man. We used to have names when I used to do MTV. I'd like to be interviewing Mac 10.
Yeah,
So the guy
Mac
named
10.
himself after a fucking machine gun. Not having
badass.
common sense. Having
Yep.
common sense would be responsibly handling a Mac 10.
Correct. That's correct.
Don't run while you're with Mac 10.
See, but
Common
that's apples
sense.
and oranges, though. Common Sense is like very politically minded, like get the kids up off the street. And Mac 10, well, was Mac
Yeah.
10. Yeah.
Common's full name is Lonnie
Lonnie.
Karant Jaman Shuka Rashid
Yeah.
Lynn. Oh my God, I don't even have a fucking middle name.
That's
This guy's
weirder
got
than
14
Bjork's name.
names.
Yeah.
Holy
exactly.
shit.
I think I could commit, if I was in charge of bringing someone up on stage, I'd rather bring Bjork up and
100%.
and try to read that mess in the teleprompter.
Yeah, he should have shifted this name to Uncommon. Would have been more on point.
Lonnie Karant Jaman Shuka Rashid Lynn. Rashid Lynn.
Rashid, yeah.
Parents really didn't make a choice.
Wait,
there.
is there a Rashid with an ID? That's a Rashid?
Yeah, it's the same
I'm not
difference.
in the community like
Hopefully
you.
they have their
I
ID.
am,
So he has 13 fucking names and I don't have one? I got no middle name.
Oh, you do have a name though. You don't have a third name.
Sorry. I
Yeah.
got the two.
You got two.
Yeah, but I don't have the middle one.
No, you don't have a middle name.
Yeah, why did
No.
your parents give you a middle name?
Should
bud?
we do a contest? To
Yeah, we should
have your
make
middle
one
name
for
be
you.
chosen by the audience.
It's one of the sadder. I'll tell you guys what sad is. Having a dad that like beats on you is bad, and having a dad that's one of those dads where it's like one day he'd go to the track and he'd be up and he'd come home with a Corvette, and the next day he was selling a mattress out the back door to pay off the loan sharks or whatever. That sounds bad, perhaps.
Yeah.
But the real bad is 100% apathetic right across the board. Just nothing, right? I said to my mom once, I go, how come I don't have a middle name? And she goes, I don't know. Did you ask your dad? And I go, no. And he goes, well, I don't know. Ask your dad. Like, they didn't have enough the bloom was off the rose. I was at the hospital.
They didn't think about it.
It's like, we didn't, I don't know. And then I said to my dad, I go, this is a totally true story. I go, Dad, how come no middle name? And he goes, did you ask your mom? It's like, you never even had a conversation about a middle name?
Oh, my God.
And fucking Common's got 9 middle names?
Plus, they probably had to have asked your parents
What
in the
I'm
delivery
saying
room,
is
and they're like, he's fine.
Listen, what I'm saying is like, it's like you're in high school, right? And you go up to the hot blonde cheerleader, and they go, Ben Gleib, what do you think of Ben Gleib? And they go, oh, that guy. He thinks he's all that, but he's really not. That sounds bad, but the worst is, who?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
way worse.
You know, Ben, he sits next to you in homeroom. Mm-hmm. The fat, red-haired guy? No, the spindly Jew. His name is Ben? Like, that just means, oh, fuck, there's
Yep.
zero.
Yep.
That means zero. Zero effort, zero nothing.
Didn't have to use me as that
is the worst.
example and
Sorry.
bring back a lot of trauma.
I didn't want to bring it, I didn't want to rip that
Sure.
Band-Aid off.
Sure.
But that is the worst is apathy. The
Devastatingly
worst
accurate.
is just like, I don't know.
opposite
What
of
the
love.
fuck? Why do we care? Like, why would we give you a middle name? Like, oh, why? That's a calorie burner.
Yep.
We don't know no one else named Adam Carolla, so who gives a shit?
I have
Right.
a middle name, so not to rub it in, you know.
What is it?
Gutenstarter.
You're Björk.
Big fan. Parents are
yeah.
big fans.
Oh, all right. Well, who knew that Mayhem was a big Björk fan?
I loved her. I mean, I still love her. She's got a piece of my heart. All those Michelle Gondry directed videos. Ooh, just a next level. See, you didn't know I was
No,
into
you
You're
directing.
so
knew.
sensitive and
I just get it.
artistic.
Yeah, I am. I'm a very artistic guy.
Wow.
I know I'm a goon prize
No,
fighter,
but That's good. You're nuanced.
Beautiful.
I'm a Renaissance man.
I sent my son Björk. I just give him a list of weird songs to listen to, and I just sent him the Björk. You know, when you're 18, everything's fucking new.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, and they have no idea. Like, I'm looking at you, Dawson. I'm like, listen to Green Grass and High Tides by the Outlaws. And he's like, it gets back to me like 20 minutes later. That's a fucking kick-ass song. I'm like, yeah, you'll never hear it on the radio. Your friends won't play it. Everyone will think you're weird. But here's a Björk song. Listen to that one. You know, I just fucking feed him weird songs all day. And he's smart enough to go, oh, this is a good song.
Hell yeah.
All right,
She must for sure sleep in the Fortress of Solitude, right?
Yeah.
She's sleeping in an ice chamber 100.
You know,
Yeah.
she's holding up. You know,
She
I'll
looks
still
pretty
have
good.
a crush
Is
on
that a
her.
current picture?
I mean, it looks recent, yeah. She's holding up.
She's
God
like
bless her.
59, I think. I did one of my Björk dives over the weekend, you know.
Nice.
One of them?
One of them.
You do this
many.
often.
Yeah, take a dive, you know. I'm like, what is this song? 58 years of age. What's her last name? What's her dad's name? Her dad,
Even weirder.
Björk's dad. I don't even know how it works in Iceland. I think you just make up your own name rules. I think you just write whatever you want
It's
on
whatever
your driver's
first
license.
sounds the baby makes
That's right.
becomes the name.
Yeah.
I started looking up her dad. Her dad has a different name than her, and it's totally different, and it's totally confusing. Can you read what her dad's name is?
Her dad's name is Gudmundur Gunnarsson, but I think her last name is his first name with daughter on the end.
Oh.
That's how
So
it
she's
works.
Gudmundsson's daughter.
Oh. See?
Now it all falls into place.
You know, you get a cage fighter in here and you think you know everything about Björk. You think you're covered. You know what I mean?
No, you learn new things.
Because you got a cage fighter in
New
here.
thing every Prano.
But there's going to be more Björk information. Just because you got a guy's been in the
Björk-formation.
octagon.
The word's Björk-formation.
Björk-formation. Just
right.
because you got an octagon fighter doesn't mean you know everything
No,
about
it
Björk.
doesn't. You'd think it would.
You think you're covered.
You think you're
You
covered.
think you're...
You got to recheck your assumptions sometimes.
Oh, man. Yeah. Like if we had Chuck Liddell in here, you think you're covered on Björk. You know what I mean? Or you got Rampage Jackson. That's all you need to know. The guy's an encyclopedia Björk.
Yeah, I'll
you
call
know what
him
I
in.
mean? But turns out still be a couple holes in the game,
Fact,
you know?
Fact. Also, if you don't know this, Björk was born a twin, and her twin died at childbirth. And the doctor took off its mask and his doctor scrubs, and as he was leaving the door, turned around and said, "My work here's done again."
Baldwin killed Björk's twin?
Yeah, been doing it for a long time.
We can't go out on a higher note than that. And Calderon, a security expert on all things Mexico, an old friend of the show, is going to be in. We'll talk to him. We'll bid adieu to my panel on Björk. Ben's got a podcast. It's called All About Björk. It airs only in Iceland. Björk's dad's coming in studio, not a Zoom. It's called Last Week on Earth with Ben Gleib. I'll give all the plugs. Thanks, you guys, for coming by. We'll do Ed Calderon right after this. Bioptimizers Magnesium Breakthrough. Well, do you know if you're getting enough magnesium? Because 4 out of 5 Americans aren't, and that affects sleep and mood. Yeah. Well, and by the way, once the sleep ain't there, the mood's out the window too. So sleep and mood, and then sleep, then mood. That's why you need Bioptimizers Magnesium Breakthrough. Since I added Magnesium Breakthrough to my nightly routine, I fall asleep with no problem, and I wake up refreshed because I got a good night's sleep. Oh, it's so important. Other magnesium supplements might give you 1 or 2 forms of magnesium. Magnesium Breakthrough contains all 7 forms of magnesium, and you need them all to get that sleep and to wake up re-energized. All Bioptimizer supplements are the best in class. Get a full refund, no questions asked. If you disagree, they offer a 365-day money-back guarantee. I take mine every night. It's Bioptimizers. Right, Dawson?
Don't miss out on the most relaxing sleep ever with Magnesium Breakthrough. For an exclusive offer, go to biooptimizers.com/Adam and use promo code Adam during checkout to save 10%. If you subscribe, not only will you get amazing discounts and free gifts, you will make sure your monthly supply is guaranteed.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly offers friendly, helpful service and the parts and knowledge you'll need for all your maintenance and repairs. I've always gone to O'Reilly. I used to live up in the hills in La Crescenta. I'd go to the one up on Foothill. Still there. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in-store or online, so you'll never have to worry if you're in a jam. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of your car, which is nice. You don't have to pull it. If it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find the right battery for your vehicle. Need your windshield wipers replaced, brake light fixed, quick service, they'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help as well. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the team at O'Reilly knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, friendly. So the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto, do-it-yourself, and you can find what you need in the store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, Adam. So my daughters went back to high school, about a month and a half ago. And since they went back, there's been 5 or 6 fights at school. And, of course, everyone records them with their phones now. And my daughters come home, and they're passing the videos around, and they show me every single fight is girls now. Every fight. Guys do not fight at high school anymore, it seems. It's all girls. You are absolutely right about that. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Yeah, what's going on in this historical moment in history is women are going fucking batshit crazy. And we decided, guys like Will Ferrell decided they should be in charge of everything. Give me examples of where they're in charge of everything where it's fucking working out. That's, which is saying a balance is fine. But this notion of like if women were just in charge of everything, it'd be awesome. I don't think so. They're mostly in charge in L.A., and L.A.'s a piece of shit.
We just have the first female Mexican president.
Ed Calderon, by the way. Yeah, how's that working?
It's interesting. Most of her first, they have these things called mañaneras, which every morning she basically puts herself in front of the camera and just explains what's going on.
Every morning.
And most of these explanations have been centered on what women should be doing and what a girl should mean for girls now because he's a president. Basically, the woke aspect of what you're going through here is now just settling into Mexico.
Well, can I, this just to be like ultra clear with everybody. When you go like, New Orleans got to be chocolate run. You know what I mean? Well, that guy's in jail right now. The black guy who kept it chocolate is in jail. And then there's Adams over in New York.
Yeah.
And then there was Nut Job in Chicago. Lightfoot. Okay. Just be clear. Here's what I'm saying. Black people can run things. Women can run things. Hispanics can run. Everyone can run things. No one's inherently better at running things because they're black or because they're female or because they're lesbian or because it makes you feel better. As a matter of fact, if you just look at the data, I don't think it's going to support. We have a black, finally Chicago has a black mayor. So rejoice, black people. No, it's not any better. We have a black woman who was vice president, who may be president, who's a complete fucking idiot. That is not progress, everyone. So you can have whoever you want to have. Don't just assume that if we have more females in positions of power, we're somehow going to be better off. We need more smart people in positions of power. Thank you.
More people that have what it takes and have proven themselves many times to then arrive to a position where they can make decisions.
So is Mexico getting woke?
Yes, it's been going through. We had a leftist president for 6 years who basically focused his time on getting rid of things like, we now have pronouns on the law books.
Oh, really?
We have female violence being persecuted. What I mean by female violence is I can't verbally blast somebody who's a female in public because that's considered violence against a female. Now, she can scream at me all she wants.
So you guys just trying to catch up to Canada and us?
Yeah.
Because Canada's gone they're full hermaphrodite now. They're not even men or women. They don't even know what the fuck they are. They're platypus. They don't even know what the fuck they are over there.
We're still trying to figure out pronouns down there.
Latinx never really caught on out there, did it?
No, this is more of a thing out here. Like I've been every now and then people try to put that on me, and I just go, "Mande, ¿qué está hablando usted?" I just go into Spanish. I think that usually defeats them with the Latinx conversation.
By the way, people should know Ed's got a podcast, Manifesto Radio Podcast, available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more as well. Operations expert along the U.S.-Mexican border, security specialist, a federale in Tijuana for a number of years, right?
A state agent.
No, not a federale.
Not a federale. We didn't have federales back then. They didn't exist.
Oh, you didn't?
The only federales back then were road cops.
Oh, that's what we called them when we went to Tijuana, federales.
Watch out for those guys.
Oh, if I see a guy in uniform on a cop bike riding a wheelie, I'm like, he may be
a federale.
He may be a federale. Yeah. So what is the plan for the United States vis-a-vis the essentially open border of the land? So let me give you my theory.
Sure.
And then you tell me what's wrong with it, and do not govern yourself from telling me what's wrong with it. For years, the Democrats have been saying into a microphone, once we go full minority or majority minority, then we'll never lose another election, which is based on a sort of flawed premise, which is, well, we have blacks and Hispanics, and they all vote for us. So if we can get enough Hispanics, then we'll never lose another election. Now, the flaw in that is you might start getting some smart Hispanics who don't want you to fucking run them into the ground, or California, whatever it is. It'll evolve into that. But in the short term, they go, Hispanics vote for us, we get Hispanics, we win.
Yeah.
And they say that into microphones.
Yeah.
Then other guys on the other side of the aisle, like Tucker Carlson, start saying the same thing into the microphone, the replacement theory and whatever, and then they accuse him of being a racist. The same people who said it now accuse the other side of being racist for saying what they said. That's number one. Then they go, look, for whatever, they go, we're all for border security, but here's a bunch of shit that's going to open the border. And then someone goes, I thought you're all for borders. We're definitely, but fences won't work and walls won't work and none of the same Mexico, none of it's going to work and it's all racist. So we'll just leave it open. So everyone starts flooding over. Then the right goes, oh, you're just bringing them over so they'll vote for you. And they go, that's ridiculous. Like, how dare you? We want border security and they can't vote for us. They're not citizens. So get the fuck out of here. And then 10 minutes later, they go, we want a pathway to citizenship, And then they go, we don't want California requiring IDs when you vote. And then we're like, and then they start going, we need full amnesty so these people can vote and get in the system. It's like, well, isn't this kind of what they've been saying you've been doing the entire time? And aren't you just doing it now? And they go, that's ridiculous. I love this country. How dare you? But it feels like that's how it's playing out, right?
But what I've seen is on the southern border side, there are people doing this that in some way, shape, or form represent political interest here in the United States.
Waving people in.
Yeah. Volunteer services, people getting printed out scripts basically to what to say once they get across. A big aspect now is that the beaner Mexicano como yo, like coming here to go to work and just work because I want a better life for myself, from Mexico, that is on the decline. Like Mexicans aren't coming up here anymore. We're kind of like staying put in a lot of ways. Like Mexico's actually going through a big economic boom right now. What you're getting are Venezuelan, and there's a whole thing like that people call conspiratorial or racist. That there's this thing where they actually emptied out Venezuelan prisons,
right,
and gave them this path over here.
Well, first off, you'd be a fool if you ran a country and like Venezuela, and you said we're paying to house all these people in prisons, that we can let them out and they can walk over there and just go live over there and let somebody else deal with
that's one
ass.
That's one major part of the people that are coming up here, and another one is just Chinese people. Like I was at the Baja down in Baja and Tijuana. There's like a corridor there when the migrant push was going on, and I would see the suspicious thing about them was they were all moving in formation, and most of them weren't moving their right arm when they would walk, which is an indication of somebody has training with weaponry. Now I'm not saying that most of those guys represent that, but it's interesting. The type of immigrant that are coming now into this country, or the type of immigrant that is being invited in, is a completely different one from the 90s and the early 2000s.
No, it is a good point. I lived in SoCal my whole life, and the people who came here worked construction. Yeah, basically.
I mean, basically they were repeating what they learned as far as a skill set in their home country. Like I grew up, I know how to weld because I don't have money, so I need to work, and I have to have some sort of trade skill.
Right.
But some of these guys coming from Venezuela, I mean, they know about extortion. They can show you how to, can show you how to, hotwire a motorcycle. It's a different type of individual. Not all of them. There's some very nice people within that, but a lot of them. And if you could see what happened in New York with all these guys running wheelies and down in New York City and getting basically turning their segments of the city into a little mini Venezuela, and then getting really upset about them getting caught. You can see the difference between the type of people that are coming up.
It was all about masonry when I was young out here working. Every Latin guy did all the stucco, all the block work, all the forming, everything. Yeah, it was masonry, because that's what they did. Then have a lot of timber where they're from. You should look at the buildings when you drive through Tijuana, Baja, Rosarita.
It's a university. You learn it there, and then you look north.
Right.
That's how it used to be.
Right. So this is different and scarier, because back then you kind of went, well, these people aren't documented, and they're maybe getting paid like under the table sometimes, but they're providing a service, like they're working and they have a skill set, and they're contributing to society in different ways. This new group seems different.
I'm sure there's some of them in there that are that way, but from what I've seen, like being on the border and also just speaking to my friends who work for Border Patrol and some of my friends who work for the Guardia Nacional, which is the National Guard units in Mexico, they're like these are different types of people. I mean, it's almost like a conveyor belt from China to certain parts of South America where there's direct flights where they don't need a lot of documentation, and then just a straight line up into the United States.
What are we doing? I mean, I think.
What is the U.S. doing to?
Well, what I'm saying is Trump was very interested in stemming the flow of this.
He implemented stay in Mexico,
right,
which was immediately revoked when Biden came in, and that was actually working. When I say it was working, it was slowing down the flows of these caravans into Mexico, which even the Mexican people were like, we don't want this.
Yeah, well, why would they? Caravans coming through your country. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is we can argue over what's effective and what's not effective, and that would a wall be effective? Well, they'll tunnel under it or remain in Mexico or whatever this thing is. We can argue over how effective it is. But at a certain point, a theme starts to emerge, which is one guy seems to be really interested in this, and the other says they're interested and then undoes everything and does nothing in its place. So what do they want?
Yeah, they want a flood of people that are going to change the demographics and probably the voting in here.
I mean, is it that sort of simple and nefarious?
That's what it seems like. I mean, the inactivity or the inability of them to stem this, it has to be purposeful. Like, it has to be them just saying, you know what? And again, I speak and I have friends in the Border Patrol, and funny enough, a lot of them are first generation Mexican, and they get called racist all the time. And some of these people out of their pockets like pay for some of the kids that walk through like toys and candy for them. They themselves say that they're completely, like, we're just lawn furniture here. We're not doing our jobs, and they get mixed communication from the people that are coming through that we were told to come here.
Right.
And like, these guys are like, no, don't come. The famous "Don't Come" video clip of Kamala.
Right.
Don't come. They're being told to come. So somebody somewhere is putting out that message in a very official way that these people are coming to this country. And officially, some of these Border Patrol agents and some of the people that are in charge of the border that I've been able to talk to they've told me straight up they're being completely blocked from doing anything.
Well, it was pretty telling like, for me, everything is just sort of themes, and it's sort of like, let's just say you're a husband and wife, and, you say to your wife, I'm very interested in our son's education. And she says, good, me too. And then she goes, good, I think we should hire him a tutor. And I go, no, that's hurtful. It's not going to work. And she goes, well, I thought you were interested in this. I'm 100% interested. How about we get him some textbooks? You know what? Textbooks not going to work. And then she goes, I thought you were, and I go, I'm so interested. Meanwhile, and then she's going, well, what do we say for private school? And I go, no, that's never going to work. We can't do that. It's like, at a certain point, maybe I'm not that interested in his education.
Yeah.
And when that whole Haitian whipping, Border Patrol, horseback thing came out, the fact that Joe Biden and everyone in his administration, including Kamala, had to get up there and lie about shades of Jim Crow and slavery, lie about it, says, oh, they're not that interested in the border because they just threw all those guys under the fucking bus for something they knew didn't happen. So what are they doing? And then they go, oh, we're very interested in border safety and security. And it's like, then why did you get in front of a camera and lie about the guys who were mounted horseback and the Haitians that were running through the river? Why'd you just lie about that?
Yeah.
If you're so interested in this and you love, those are your people, and why'd you lie?
And it's you would hear that conversation on TV about that being very reminiscent of things in the past and the whipping and all that. But nowhere do you hear that all the people that are crossing that border are being taxed by some of the most violent criminal organizations on the planet, who are currently calling this age in American immigration history Navidad, Christmas.
Oh, really?
Because they're making money. Like, it's like they say, like, well, yeah, anybody that crosses here has to pay us a tax. And all we have to do is basically just collect that tax, right? If you're going through one of the major crossing points. So they're all about this current administration's policy. And it's interesting that usually doesn't get talked about that much, but they're making money hand over foot with the current policy. The separation of families that gets talked about a lot in the United States, where people get put into cages. Why doesn't anybody talk about the separation of families that happens on the southern side of the border, when these people show up and their daughter's kind of cute?
Right. Well, J-Lo dedicated her halftime show to the kids in cages. Except for she just shook her twat the entire time. But maybe that was a tip of the cap to the kids in the cages. And then AOC went down to take a picture to fake cry by a fence.
But she should go down and cry at some of these brothels where some of these kids get sent to. Or
she would if she was interested in kids in cages or kids being abused, but she's not.
The current administration's policy is basically creating a haven for a lot of people who are making money hand over foot with the biggest money source of cartels currently, which is not drugs. It's not extortion. It is human trafficking.
Is human trafficking their biggest income?
Yes. If you own a part of that border wall, that border section, that's yours, and you tax anything that goes across it. So that's what cartels are fighting for.
What is human trafficking to them? What different forms does it manifest itself in?
If you like, there are professional human traffickers who basically will guarantee crossings into the United States. $5,000 will guarantee you a car drive into San Diego, and I'll drop you off at a Walmart, for example.
Right. So
and that's a high level trafficking.
In terms of cartel and human trafficking, you have all the different forms of it, and there's prostitution and all that kind of stuff. And then there's the ones where they bring you in and you work and pay them for the next several years and stuff. But in terms of most expensive to sort of least consequential, like go big to small.
I mean, the one thing you'll see is that people with money will hire a trafficker, and they will usually get the more expensive it is, the more highly successful as far as it's going to be as far as dropping you off on the side of the border. The lower tier you are, they're going to take everything you have in your pockets basically and put you in some of these mass border crossing events.
I mean, it's like plastic surgery. You want to pay for it. You get the good stuff in Beverly Hills. You want to go to Mexico.
You want to go to Mexico and get some of the salient stuff.
No, it is. I mean, you kind of get what you pay for. So if you can pay for someone with a high success rate who's professional, knows what they're doing, you'll probably get in.
And and anybody doing any sort of thing of that nature, even if they're doing it independently in some sort of way, shape, or form, has to pay taxes to the
they have to give the vig to the cartel.
Yeah.
So so there's human trafficking. Just bring you in to San Diego. What other kinds of human trafficking?
There's flights. There's rentals of IDs. So if I find somebody that looks kind of like you, and I could have somebody basically rent me out their IDs, and I'll go over and like, hey, you look like this guy. Just pretend you're drunk and go asleep in the back seat. You're fine.
Right.
And cross you over. There's flights over. I recently posted on my Instagram account a video. I think it was OB. I think it was an OB. They just drove a fishing boat right into the beach and left it there, and just a bunch of people just ran out.
Right.
So,
and how's the prostitution human trafficking part work?
So that is the darker side of it, and that's very sophisticated. You have women who work as recruiters because you have to have a woman. Like a woman is not going to get in a car with a couple of dudes.
Right.
So usually you will have females to basically be there to kind of like negotiate or be the first contact with them to make them feel safe. You have some of these coyotes basically looking at the crowds, looking at the women, looking exactly who they could use for what, and like if there is anybody there that's passable in their eyes, they'll get pulled aside.
Who are walking through the sort of migrant human train of people that are heading.
In the past, they would have wristbands because they were going different ways. So they would put a yellow wristband on women because once they make it over here, they would get sent to different places to be basically utilized for sexual exploitation in a hotel room somewhere, or be moved around the country and by different organizations that basically have our representation of what happens south up here. So they will look for like that one. And the agreement is not only on the southern side with them getting trafficked, but also there's somebody over here receiving them. So they have these, we'll get you a job once you cross at a seamstress place, or we have this waitering job here, or we have this job at this restaurant, and women will like, oh, cool. And all of a sudden they're in a hotel room somewhere being talked to by a few men. And
it doesn't matter what their age is.
No. There's I've seen very, very young, and I don't know what happens to them on this side because that's beyond what I've been able to verify or see myself. But I know for a fact that some of these unaccompanied minors that are still making their way across disappear.
Yeah.
And with family members on the southern side basically keeping track of them, having family members supposedly being able to going to try and attempt to claim them, and then them just they're gone, right? And either they disappeared mysteriously on the border fence itself or somewhere in Mexico, or up here, and there's no way of knowing because how they don't carry IDs, they don't have a cell phone. There's something happening in that on that border wall, independently of it being open or not, and all the politics around it. There's some dark stuff happening there. That's definitely real, and anybody who thinks it's a conspiracy or we've seen enough in our current modern history to know that some of this dark shit is happening.
What is going on with our government providing flights for migrants?
I travel across the country constantly doing training. Like I just did a class out in the East Coast, and when I was when I was going through TSA security checkpoints, I saw 5 Venezuelan immigrants. Now I never dealt with. Well, I dealt with a few Mara Salvatrucha people and some Vario 18 gang members from that part of the world. But they look like they never did manual labor in their lives. You know when somebody does manual labor, you'll have a line on your arm.
Yeah,
you'll have
line. Yeah.
And these guys don't look like any of that. And all they had was a printed out piece of paper with their pictures, and that's what got them through TSA.
Right.
Now
you got to take your shoes and your belt off and retinal scan.
Well, I'm an immigrant. Like I'm a legal immigrant to this country, and I went through a 2-year process to even get a single form of identification.
Yeah. Are they spreading them around for what reason?
I don't know the reason, but I do know they are being sent to specific places in mass quantities. One of them is Colorado for some reason. Texas is another place where I've seen a few people being basically dropped off in certain communities. I don't know exactly what the intention is, where they're, I guess resources to receive them is kind of the thing. So the way I've seen it work is they have these people ready to receive them, private entities that are willing to house them, that receive government money, of course.
Sure.
And there's a whole system like that. So they will be sent to where these resources are, and then they disappear. Some of them disappear. Like we had this whole social media thing where the supposedly the Hells Angels were going to go fight this gang of Venezuelan immigrants that were taking over this housing complex somewhere in Colorado, which has some truth to it. And it's not just there. There's a bunch of places where some of these gangs have taken hold, like bringing reminiscent of like old timey like 90s gang era stuff that you would see here in California. That's kind of like low now. It's being brought back because these guys, didn't learn any of those lessons, so they're like this Christmas for them.
Well, listen, they do what they're going to do. Like if you take carpenter ants and you just scoop them all up and put them somewhere where they never were before, they're just going to start doing what carpenter ants do. You know what I mean? I had this saying, which is you take beavers and you put them on top of the Empire State Building and they start looking for wood to build a dam. And people laugh, but that's what beavers do. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so if you take people who do masonry and you bring them over here, then they'll do masonry. Yeah. If you take them who do gangs-related stuff, then they'll do gang-related stuff. That's what they're going to do, whatever they did.
If you go through an immigration process, and as somebody that has gone through it myself, it was very difficult. Everything was checked. My background, everything was checked. What are you going to be doing here?
Right.
What if you fail at whatever you're going to be doing here? Who are you going to be a financial burden to? Somebody has to host you. All of this. None of this exists with any of these people.
Right. So the real question is, what's in it for us as a government to do this? And then it starts getting into a kind of zone, which is like a scary zone, which is like, are these people incompetent, or is this a plan? Like in terms of their destruction, are they looking to destroy this country, or they just have no fucking idea what they're doing and are destroying everything?
I think they're purposely blinding themselves to certain aspects of what they're doing. So they don't give a fuck about the issue of them, the cartels making money hand over fist with all this. They don't care. On this side, they only care about, I guess, the one, looking like a good guy to the masses of people that have never been to Mexico or never been to South America to see why these people are running or fleeing, and how that is very, very much, a lot of it is very much in direct responsibility of U.S. foreign policy in the past. So maybe there's like a willful ignorance there. But also, like, they make it a point to say, like, the border's open. Like, they're doing a lot of this.
Come down.
When we went to the last caravan encampment in Tijuana that I went to, had a Biden flag in the middle of it. So but Mexico's
first female president, and she's getting woke, I guess, which is bad for problems. I mean, bad for solving problems. I mean, being progressive and woke. It doesn't work for solving problems because you're spending energy doing something that's neither here nor there.
This is all people need to know about her. Her main controversy while she was going to get the presidential ban on her was not inviting the King of Spain to her inauguration because she thinks the King of Spain owes Mexico an apology.
Oh, really?
That was the only thing on the news was like, this King of Spain is an asshole. He's not invited.
But she still has to be.
But Putin was invited, by the way.
Putin was invited. Does she have to be owned by the cartels?
There's no way you can run any sort of political campaign in Mexico without having any sort of participation directly by the cartels in Mexico. There's just no way. And we just saw the arrest of the El Mayo Zambada. El Mayo Zambada was the cartel guy in Mexico. Mm-hmm. And somehow
What's that mean, the cartel guy?
He was one of the original members of the Sinaloa Cartel Federation. Uh-huh. He actually learned his craft here in L.A. He was an L.A. guy, an immigrant, illegal one probably, and basically went down there and was one of the founding members of this cartel federation called the Sinaloa Cartel. The United States made a deal with one of El Chapo Guzman's sons and somehow coaxed him onto a plane and flew him into Texas, Colorado, like a weird airport somewhere on the border with Texas. And they didn't tell Mexico about it because why would you trust anybody in Mexico with that type of operation?
Right.
Which made Mexican government very nervous and angry, but also quiet. Like, why would they get quiet? Is it because that was your guy that you just arrested? Probably.
Right.
The way they picked him up, they set up a meeting between the governor of Sinaloa, who's a member of the current ruling party across the country right now, Morena, and he wasn't there, and it was a bag over his head, and they shot somebody there and made their way to a plane and flew him out. But the fact that he was going to meetings with governors,
right,
it's clear as day to anybody that's willing to see that these cartels are completely intertwined with politics in Mexico.
Yeah. So she wouldn't be where she is if they didn't want her to be there.
No way.
And there's no such thing as anyone who's running on a platform of dismantling the cartels getting anywhere near whatever your version is of the Oval Office.
No, and the position of Mexico right now politically is antagonistical against the United States, and it's clear now with this arrest of we should, in Mexico, you should be celebrating the fact we got this. This is like a major blow. Mm-hmm. El Chapo Guzman wasn't a leader of anything. He was like a small fourth or fifth on the line of like top guys. This is one of the biggest cartel bosses out there in the world. Mm-hmm. And Mexico's angry about his arrest.
So I would assume the Mexican president would be hoping that Kamala Harris would be president.
That is that's like a very good question. The current administration in Mexico is crossing their fingers that we get a Kamala presidency.
Why would they want that?
That's a better partner for them to work with. They don't want to work with Trump, who's going to threaten them with tariffs or threaten them with anything, economic wise specific. So China figured out that a way to get around tariffs is to build plants in Mexico.
Right.
And Trump said, well, I'm going to tariff them anyway. And you saw Mexico go through this economic boom. We had one of the most stable currencies on the planet for about 3-4 years. But once the U.S. kind of figured out that the Chinese were moving all industrial plant kind of to Mexico to turn it into a way to get around tariffs and stuff like that, the U.S. got wind of that. And also Mexico just currently passed a sweeping bunch of reforms for our version of the Supreme Court. And now all of them are going to be in an elected official position. So basically they're clearing out their courts and they're going to put whoever they want in there.
Yeah.
Which the international community said, like, that's not a good idea. So the peso went back up to 20 pesos for $1 after being 16, or it was lower than that for a while. Now it's like, now the peso's dropping. So there's clearly a back and forth conflict between the United States and Mexico when it comes to some of the issues that are going on down there and where it's headed. Again, we invited Putin over, but not the king of Spain, which is, it's whatever, but it's Mexico is relishing in the whole anti-American, anti-Yankee, pro-Maduro, pro-leftist governments across South America, across the Americas, and also like there's like conversations about BRICS. It's a mess.
Yeah, I don't know why that's attractive to that part of the land.
I think it's the only way we can throw rocks at the U.S.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, what I'm saying is there's been so many experiments with socialism that never work out. Why do we continue experimenting with it?
The initial parts of it are great, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Because so this is how the current ruling party in Mexico became dominant. They got into power. They started all these social programs where people were going to get a monthly check. Specifically the old people now, and some people who are on disabilities are going to get a check. So very, interesting social net for people. But now they're moving consistently backwards. It's like if you're a single mother, or if you're like all these special interest groups are now getting money. And where's that money coming from? The economy is not doing as well as it used to be doing. We're about to get hit with a bunch of tariffs if Trump gets elected, and he's going to block a lot of that progress. So what's going to happen to that socialist dream that you had? And who's going to be paying for that, right? Who's going to be paying for all this? It sounds good. Getting free money sounds great.
Yeah.
Until you realize it has to come from somewhere.
Yes.
We're going both. And also, whenever a socialist, government like that settles, the only way they can stay is if they involve the military. Guess what other federal laws were changed in Mexico during this administration? The federal firearms laws were changed because they don't want people armed. So they're restricting firearms ownership more for civilians with the excuse that it's for counter cartel operations, which is they don't buy it.
Well, it always follows the same recipe and the same path. And at some point, they have to get into disarming people, and they also have to get into information. Not wanting people to share information. We have that here now. A lot of talk, for their safety. It's always like for your own safety.
I can't say anything derogatory of a female on a public forum.
Right. What is X and Twitter and things like that in Mexico?
It's active. It's active, but it's basically people throwing mud at each other. It's people from the right of the political spectrum who are quickly dying out or just switching sides, and people from this new leftist Morena movement who is now dominating everything. And it's just right now the whole screaming match is over militarization of Mexico. So we had a federal police, La Policía Federal, which is a civilian institution. That's gone. Now it's a National Guard unit, and it's run by the military. The military runs all of the airports in Mexico. It runs every single port of entry. It runs. It's building airports. It's building railways. It's making the uniforms that they use. It's becoming this. That's the power behind the throne, and that's what people are screaming at. They're like, "This is not going to lead us to a good place." I had the experience 2 weeks ago walking in Tijuana and having a military vehicle stop and search 4 kids that were coming out of a high school just because they can.
Right.
Because now, the way things are, every single person that belongs to the Army now has the ability to act like a police officer. And that's recent.
It only goes one way, people. I don't know why you want to take 2 steps in that direction, because it eventually ends up in a place you don't want to be. But yet, we always talk about, what if we just went a couple steps down that path? We'll just limit some of the speech that's more dangerous and mis and disinformation, and we'll just give folks who have plenty, we'll just get a little bit from them so they could pay their fair share, so other people could have a little chance, you know, because we all don't start in the same place. So we have to get to some speech all the time of no one starting. The thing about Americans is, like, half the country agrees with that dingbat, and they don't get what she's saying. She's not talking about evening the playing field. She's talking about taking shit away from people who work weekends and giving it to people who don't feel like working. And we just kind of go down that path a little bit, which is insane. Never learn the lesson.
And it's the favorite thing of that side of the political spectrum is that they blame the United States for targeting governments like that.
Right.
And making it hard. So, like Venezuela, the reason people eat out of the garbage in Venezuela is because the U.S. They blame it on the U.S., right?
Right.
And because that's the boogeyman. When something like that eventually happens in Mexico, because, I mean, again, you said this, like this doesn't go into any. I've never seen a socialist utopia space like one that made it big. Or
no, it always ends the same way.
So, but now you're going to have something that used to happen, oceans away. Now it's right next to the border, and you want to talk about a humanitarian and immigration crisis in the United States. When that experiment we're about to go through in Mexico doesn't work out, it's gonna change things fundamentally. There's no way to hide from it. There's no ocean separating us from that.
Well, hopefully Elon can colonize Mars, and I can be one of the early inhabitants of that place. Ed Calderon, the podcast, Manifesto Radio Podcast. Come back sooner than a year, and let's continue the conversation, because I'm always intrigued. edsmanifesto.com is where you go. That's the website. Always good to see Ed.
Thank you.
Always very enlightening in a sad way. I want to thank Ben Gleib for coming in here as well. I'm going to be in Nashville on Thursday. I'll be in Nashville doing a live ACS taping there. That will be, Adam Ray's going to be on that show with me too, as well as Clay Travis. And then Pottstown, PA. Soul Joel's doing stand-up there Friday and Saturday this weekend. 7 o'clock, 9:30 show. Come on out, say hi. Until next time, Adam Carolla, Fred Calderon, and Ben Gleib, and Mayhem saying mahalo.